My children gathered around the kitchen table that night, the one I scrubbed clean every morning for 50 years, and they looked at me with eyes that used to sparkle with love but now gleamed like cold steel. "Mother," my eldest son Harold said, his voice smooth as the whiskey he sipped from the glass I bought him for his wedding, "we've talked it over, all of us. You can't stay here anymore. This house is too big for you now, and frankly, too much of a burden." Burden! The word hit me like a slap from a stranger's hand. I stood there, my apron still tied around my waist, from baking the apple pie they all claimed was their favorite, and I felt the room spin just a little. My daughter Lila, the one I carried through fevers and storms, nodded along, her manicured nails tapping the table like she was impatient for a show to start. "It's for your own good, Mom. We'll find you a nice little place, somewhere cozy. You don't need all this space rattling around with your memories." My youngest, Tom, just stared at his phone, muttering something about costs and estates, as if I were already a ghost haunting their inheritance. I remember the exact moment the knife twisted deeper. Harold leaned forward, his chair creaking under him, the same chair his father sat in before the cancer took him, and he said, "You've given us everything, Mother, but now it's time we take care of things our way. You raised us to be strong, remember? Well, we're strong enough to make this decision without you fighting it, as if I was some wild animal they had to tame." My hands trembled on the back of my own chair, the wood worn smooth from decades of my grip, and I whispered, "This is my home, the home I built with your father, brick by brick, sweat by tear. You can't just—" But Lila cut me off, her voice sharp as a shard of glass. "We can, Mom, and we will. The lawyer's papers are already drawn up. Sign them or we'll have to do it the hard way." The hard way. Those words echoed in my ears long after they left, their coats slung over arms, loaded with the last slices of pie, wrapped in napkins, like thieves sneaking out with scraps. They didn't wait for my tears. Oh, no. They were too busy planning their futures on the bones of mine. That night, as the clock ticked past midnight, I sat in the living room, the fire I'd lit for them still crackling mockingly, and I replayed every word. Harold, with his big job in the city, the one I funded by selling my jewelry after your father died, jewelry that was my mother's, passed down like a promise. He had said, "You don't owe us anything anymore, Mother. We've paid our dues." Paid their dues? I laughed then, a bitter sound that scared even me, because what dues had they paid? Leela, who jetted off to Europe on the savings I scraped from odd jobs after the kids were grown, whispering over the phone from Paris, "Mom, send more. The exchange rate is killing me." And Tom, my baby boy, who dropped out of school and came crawling back with a wife and 3 kids in tow, expecting the guest room to be permanent. "We'll take care of the house, Mom," he'd said that night, but his eyes said, "Sell it quick." The betrayal burned hotter than any fever I'd nursed them through. I thought of the nights I lay awake, listening to their coughs through thin walls, my body aching from double shifts at the factory, so they could have new shoes for school. Harold's first bike, the one with the red streamers he begged for, I pawned my wedding ring for that, just for a month until payday. Lila's prom dress, sewn by my own hands from flour sacks and dreams, because she swore she'd be a star. And Tom, oh Tom, the baseball glove that cost me a week's groceries, all so he could chase that dream of the majors that fizzled out before high school ended. Gifts, every one of them wrapped in love and tied with sacrifice. And now, "You don't owe us anything," Harold had repeated as they herded me toward the door, like an old dog too slow for the hunt. No, it was them who owed nothing, apparently. Me? I owed them my silence, my surrender, my very breath if it stood in the way of their comfort. By dawn, the house felt like a tomb. I wandered the halls, my slippers whispering over floors I'd polished on my knees, and touched the photos on the walls, their graduations, weddings, births of grandchildren I'd rocked to sleep with lullabies in a language only we shared, each frame a gift I'd given. each smile a lie they now spat back. The lawyer called at 9, his voice oily through the receiver. Mrs. Ellis, your children have instructed me to proceed. A facility in the suburbs, very reputable. You'll be comfortable. Comfortable. As if comfort came in sterile rooms with strangers' faces and meals on trays. I hung up without a word, my hand shaking so bad the phone clattered to the floor. That's when the first real tear fell, hot and heavy on my cheek, because it wasn't just the house they were taking. It was me, the me I'd fought to be for them. I tried calling Harold first. His secretary picked up, all brisk and busy. He's in a meeting, Mrs. Ellis. Can I take a message? I choked out. Tell him his mother needs to talk. About the house. She paused. Then he mentioned something about that. Said to tell you it's settled. Settled. Like a bill at the grocer's. Leela's line rang and rang. Voicemail catching my plea like a net. Lila, honey, please, come back. We can talk this through. I love you. But love, it seemed, was a debt they'd called in and found wanting. Tom answered, but his voice was distracted, a cartoon blaring in the background. Mom, yeah, listen, we're packing your things today. The truck comes at noon. Don't fight it, okay? It's better this way. Better for who? I wanted to scream, but the words stuck, thorns in my throat. The truck arrived right on time. 2 men in uniforms that smelled of diesel and indifference, hauling out boxes labeled mother's junk, junk, my china from the wedding, the quilt I pieced from their baby clothes, the books your father read to them by lamplight. I stood in the doorway, arms wrapped around myself like a shield, and watched as they loaded it all. Harold showed up then, driving that fancy car I'd co-signed the loan for when his credit was trash. He didn't get out at first, just sat there, engine humming, before stepping onto the gravel with a sigh like I was the one inconveniencing him. Mother, please, don't make a scene. The papers are on the table. Sign them and we'll get you settled by evening. Settled. Again that word, like I was a sack of flour to be stored away. I looked at him, really looked, and saw the boy I raised morph into this stranger, with lines around his eyes from deals and deadlines, not from laughter or loss. Harold, I said, my voice steadier than I felt, did I ever ask for thanks? For the roof over your head, the food in your belly, the chances I gave you when no one else would. He shifted, glancing at his watch. Mom, that's ancient history. We're adults now. You did your part. Time to let go. Let go. Of the house? Of my life? Of them? The men paused, boxes in hand, waiting for the drama to unfold like it was their lunch break entertainment. Lila pulled up then, her SUV gleaming new, tires crunching the drive. She hurried over, heels clicking, and took my arm like I might bolt. Come on, Mom, it's not forever. Just until you're adjusted. Adjusted to what? A life without roots, without the echo of their childhood laughter in these walls. Tom arrived last, kids in tow, all wide-eyed and confused. Grandma, why are you crying? Little Sarah asked, tugging my skirt. I knelt, ignoring the ache in my knees, and cupped her face. Because grown-ups sometimes forget how to be kind, sweetheart. But you remember, okay? Family isn't something you throw away. Tom scooped her up quick, muttering, Kids, stay in the car. And just like that, the circle closed around me, my own blood pressing in, suffocating. Harold thrust the papers at me, pen in hand. Sign, Mother, for all our sakes. I took the pen, my fingers numb, and stared at the lines where my name would seal the end. The ink hovered, a black tear ready to fall, and in that suspended breath, memories flooded. Births in the dead of night, fevers breaking under my watch. Christmases strung with popcorn and hope when money was thin. Gifts, all gifts, poured from me like water from a well that never ran dry. And for what? For this moment, this knife they wielded with legal smiles. I signed. The scratch of the pen was louder than thunder in my ears. Harold exhaled, relieved, and patted my shoulder like I'd done a chore well. Good choice. You'll thank us later. Thank them? The words burned unspoken. Lila hugged me quick, perfume sharp and fleeting. Love you, Mom. See you soon. Tom waved from the car, already scrolling his phone, and then they were gone. Engines fading down the road, leaving dust and silence in their wake. The men finished loading, tipping hats as they drove off with my life in tow. I stood alone on the porch, the sun mocking me with its warmth, and that's when the real betrayal sank in. Not the words, not the papers, but the emptiness they left behind. My children, my everything had declared me obsolete. You don't owe us anything, Harold had said earlier, but oh, how wrong he was. They owed me their souls, and I would collect every last drop. The facility was a squat building on the edge of town, windows staring blank like dead eyes. The nurse who checked me in had a clipboard and a smile too wide. Welcome, Mrs. Ellis. Room 12. It's small, but homey. The room was a box, bed, dresser, chair, all bolted down like for prisoners. No photos, no quilts, just beige walls that swallowed light. They brought my boxes later, dumped unopened in the corner. I sat on the bed that first night, springs groaning under me, and wept until my eyes swelled shut. Not for the house, not yet, but for the love I'd poured out, only to have it flung back as worthless. Days blurred into a gray routine. Breakfast at 7, oatmeal lumpy as regret. Bingo at 10, where old folks like me shuffled cards with hands that forgot their strength. Lunch at noon, jello that jiggled like lies. And afternoons free to stare at nothing, while voices down the hall moaned for daughters who never came. Harold called once, voice clipped. Settling in? Good. Busy week here. Lila sent a card. Flowers wilted on the front. Thinking of you. Tom, nothing. My grandchildren's faces haunted me, their questions unanswered. But in that isolation, something stirred. Not yet the plan, not the fire, but a crack in the wall of my surrender. I stopped crying after a week. Started watching instead. The nurses' routines, the locks on doors, the way visitors came and went with purses fat with secrets. You don't owe us, they said, but debts like mine don't die easy. They fester, they grow teeth, and one day they bite back. I began small. Asked the nurse for paper and pen, said it was for letters home. She handed them over with a pitying smile. Write your heart out, dear. Oh, I did. Not letters to them, but lists. Names, dates, the gifts I'd given. The car for Harold's commute, the down payment for Lila's condo, the college fund for Tom's kids that he raided for business ideas. Every sacrifice, inked black and bold. Reading them back by the dim lamp, my voice a whisper in the empty room, I felt the first tremor of anger, not hot and wild, but cold, like steel being forged. Nights were hardest. The woman next door cried out for her boy, gone 20 years, and I'd press my ear to the wall, murmuring, hush now, he's coming. Just wait. Lies to comfort her, but truths for me, they always come back, one way or another. I dreamed of the house then, empty rooms echoing their abandonment, dust settling on the table where they'd plotted. Woke with fists clenched, nails biting palms. You took my gifts, I'd whisper to the shadows, but I'll take yours. A month in, the director called a family meeting, mandatory, they said, for adjustment. Harold showed, tie askew, Lila in heels that clicked impatience. Tom with one kid on his hip, the other squirming. They sat across the table in a room that smelled of bleach and defeat, nodding as the director droned about policies and fees. Your mother's doing well, she said. I sat silent, hands folded, watching their faces. Guilt flickering in Harold's eyes, boredom in Lila's, resentment in Tom's. When she left us alone, Harold cleared his throat. See, not so bad. Told you it'd work out. Work out for them, maybe. Lila patted my hand. The house sold quick, Mom, good price. We put your share in an account. My share, of my own blood and bone. Tom shifted the kid, who reached for me. Grandma cookie. I smiled, the first real one since the signing, and slipped him a mint from my pocket. Later, love, when no one's looking. They didn't notice the edge in my voice, the way my eyes lingered on the keys, dangling from the director's belt as she passed the door. Harold stood first. Gotta run. Love you, Mom. Love. The word hung, tainted. As they filed out, Lila lingered, adjusting her earrings, the pearls I'd given her for her 30th, from the last of your father's insurance. You look tired, Mom. Rest up. Tired? Oh, I was weary, but not broken. Not anymore. I watched her go, the door clicking shut, and that's when the plan whispered its first breath. Not revenge yet, not fully formed, but a seed, planted in the fertile soil of their indifference. Back in my room, I unfolded the paper with my lists, added one more line. The house money, theirs to squander, mine to reclaim. I folded it away, under the mattress with my few treasures, a locket with your photo, a button from Harold's christening gown. Sleep came slow, but when it did, it was deep, laced with visions of doors unlocking, of faces paling in surprise. The next morning I asked for a walk in the garden. The nurse wheeled me out. Protocol, they said, though my legs worked fine. The air was crisp, leaves turning gold like warnings. An old man sat on a bench, eyes milky, muttering about wars long lost. They forget, he said, seeing me. But we remember, I nodded, squeezing his hand. Yes, and remembering is the first step. That afternoon, I wrote another list. Not debts, but allies. The cook in the kitchen, Maria, who slipped me extra bread with a wink. Her own son far away in Mexico. The janitor Earl who fixed my lamp without asking, his daughter lost to drugs. Strangers but kin in betrayal. Help comes quiet, I told myself, voice steady now. Like roots underground. Weeks passed. The routine a cage I learned to rattle subtle. I smiled at the staff, asked after their families, shared stories of my wild youth that made them laugh, tales of you and me, dancing in the kitchen to radio tunes before kids turned joy to duty. They softened, doors left ajar, keys forgotten on counters. Harold visited once more, alone, guilt heavy on him. The money's in stocks now, Mom. Growing. Growing for who? I nodded, poured him tea from the communal pot. Tell me about your day, son. He talked, words tumbling. Deals closing, rivals crushed. I listened, filing it away. Names, companies, weaknesses. Lila came with a plant, dying already. To brighten things. I thanked her, eyes on the bracelet she wore. Mine once, your mother's. Pretty, I said. She flushed. Oh, this old thing. Old thing. Stolen in kindness, now flaunted in greed. Tom brought the kids for Easter. Eggs hidden in the lounge. We hunted, their laughter a balm and a blade. Sarah found the golden one, hugged me tight. Love you, Grandma. As they left, Tom muttered, house money's helping with the mortgage. Thanks, Mom, thanks. The word twisted like the knife. By May, my lists filled a notebook, hidden in the box they called junk, plans sketched in code, calls to old friends, lawyers not theirs, papers buried in county records. You said I owed nothing, I whispered to the mirror, seeing not an old woman but a force awakening. But debts like ours, they demand payment. The spark grew. One night, storm raging outside, lightning cracking the sky like judgment. I sat by the window, thunder rumbling my resolve. Maria knocked soft, slipped in with pie. For you, Senora. Real apple, like home. We ate in silence, forks scraping plates. Then she said, my boy? He took the house too. Sold it for a car. I took her hand. They all do till we make them pay. Her eyes widened, but she nodded. Allie won. Earl next, fixing a loose shelf. Daughter cleaned me out last year. Left me here. I pressed $1 in his palm. My allowance, hoarded. Fix this instead. He pocketed it, eyes sharp. What needs fixing, ma'am? The real cage, I thought, but said, the lock on my door. Makes me nervous. He winked. Done by morning. With each quiet word, the plan took shape. Not wild, not rash, but patient, like bread rising slow. I wrote letters then, not to them, but to the past. Your grave, old neighbors, the bank that held the mortgage I paid off alone. Help me remember, I scrawled, sealing them with wax from a candle stub. Mailed none, but the act freed something, ink-bleeding truce. June brought heat, air thick as secrets. The director announced a picnic, families invited. Mine came, all smiles and stories, kids running wild. Harold grilled burgers, sweat beading his brow. Business is booming, Mom. That house sale was lucky. Lucky. I smiled over my plate. Luck turns, son. Remember that. Lila gossiped about friends, her ring flashing. Bigger, bought with what? Tom chased kids, yelling laughs. Under the table, I passed Sarah a note. Tell Daddy Grandma says hello in her dreams. Child's game, but seeds sown. As sunset, they packed up, hugs quick. See you soon, Lila lied. I watched taillights fade, then turned to Maria, waiting in the kitchen. It's time, I said. She nodded, handed me a key, Earl's work, for the side door. Quiet. That night I slipped out, air cool on my skin, heart pounding like a girl's first dance. Walked the block to the payphone, quarters from laundry change. Called the lawyer, not theirs, an old friend from factory days. Ellen, it's Ruth. Need advice on reclaiming what's mine. Her voice crackled warm. Ruthie, been years. Tell me everything. I did, voice low, storm masking tears. They think I'm done. But I'm not. Hung up, key cold in pocket. Walked back under stars that winked like conspirators. Slipped in, door whispering shut. Lay awake, plan blooming. Steps clear now. Documents, witnesses, the slow unravel of their lies. You took my gifts, I murmured to the dark. But I'll unwrap yours, one ribbon at a time. And so the knife they plunged began to turn in their hands. Slow, inevitable. They slept sound that night, dreams sweet with stolen gold. Me? I dreamed of reckoning and woke with strength like armor. The days after tasted different, sharper, alive. I moved deliberate, eyes open to cracks in their world. Visited the library down the street, nurse approving the outing. Books on law, estates, hidden assets. Pages turned under fingers that remembered kneading dough, now plotting paths. Power of attorney, I read, underlining with borrowed pencil. Fraudulent transfer, words like weapons, loaded. Back in the room I sketched maps, not of places but of money trails. Harold's firm, public records showing loans from family funds. Lila's condo deeded wrong in haste. Tom's business, debts piled like laundry. Gifts returned, I titled the page, smiling fierce. Maria brought news over tea. Your son called the office. Said no more visits, too busy. Busy, with my life no doubt. I nodded. Good. Let them think I'm fading. She squeezed my arm. You? Fade? Never. Earl fixed more than locks. A radio, tuned to news of markets tumbling. Your boy's stock? He grunted. Down 10 points. I laughed, real and raw. First crack in their wall. July 4th, fireworks boomed distant. Echoes of battles won. I sat with the old man from the garden, sharing stolen cake. Revenge, he wheezed. Best served cold. I toasted with milk. Ice, my friend. Pure ice. Letters went out then, anonymous to their banks, hinting at irregularities. Typed on library machine, mailed from town post. No threats, just questions. Verify the source of down payment, please. Seeds, sprouting doubt. Harold called panicked a week later. Mom, you hear about the audit? Some mix-up with the house sale. I feigned frailty. Audit? Oh dear. Must be a mistake. Hung up, heart singing. The plan deepened. Ellen sent papers. Quiet mail, contraband under cookie tins. Sign here, Ruth. We fight on incapacity grounds. Incapacity? They'd laugh. But with doctor's notes from sympathetic staff. Paid in stories and smiles. Leverage. Lila visited alone, eyes red. Mom, the condos leaned. Some error. I comforted, hand on hers. Errors happen, dear. Fix it with truce. Truce. Their enemy now. Tom's turn. Kids' school fees bounced. House money gone? I sighed dramatic. Money's funny, son. Slips away. They squirmed, webs tightening. I watched from my cage, key in hand, waiting the perfect night. August heat broke with rain, washing streets clean. I walked more, legs stronger, mind sharper. Met a private eye at the diner. Old flame of Ellen's, gruff but gold. Track 'em, Walt, every dime. He nodded over coffee. For you? Half price, reports came. Folders fat with photos, statements. Harold's mistress, Lila's debts, Tom's scams. Gifts indeed, affairs, luxuries, lies. Time to package, I told the mirror. The betrayal's full weight hit then. Not pain now, but fuel. They thought me buried, but graves hold surprises. September whispered close, leaves falling like warnings. The picnic again, but I begged off. Tired, dears. Truth half, tired of their faces, not the fight. Alone I packed my box, not junk but tools. Notebook, key, Ellen's papers. Maria hugged fierce. Go with God. Earl slipped a knife. Kitchen sharp. For apples, he winked. Side door creaked open at midnight, rain slick on skin. Taxi waited, prepaid. To the county clerk, I said, voice steady as stone. Papers filed by dawn, stamps thudding like heartbeats. Reversal petition, the clerk said, eyes kind. Takes time. Time I had. Stolen back. Called Ellen from a booth. Done. Her laugh rang. Proud of you, Ruthie. Now wait. They'll come crawling. I did. In a motel off the highway, cash from hoarded weeks. TV flickered news. Storms brewing, fitting. They called frantic. Harold first. Mom, where are you? The facility says you left. Left? Vanished, more like. Lila sobbing. Mom, please. The lawyers say the sale's invalid. Tom pleading. Grandkids miss you. Come home. Home. The word twisted sweet now. But I hung silent, letting fear ferment. The knife turned full circle. Betrayal's blade now mine. The knife turned full circle. Betrayal's blade now mine. But oh, how it cut me first. Deeper than they knew. In the quiet hours when the world slept and only my thoughts kept vigil. I sat in that motel room, the one with walls thin as promises, listening to the hum of the highway outside like a river of lost chances flowing away. The bed sagged under me, springs poking like accusing fingers, and I clutched the locket around my neck. Your photo inside faded but fierce, as if you were whispering, hold on, Ruth, hold on. Hold on to what? The pain was a living thing now, coiling in my chest, squeezing until breath came short and ragged. They had locked me away, not just in that beige prison of a facility, but in this cage of my own making, waiting for the storm I stirred to break, alone, truly alone, for the first time since the day you left me. And even then, the children had been my anchors, small hands in mine pulling me from the brink. I remember pacing that room, feet cold on the threadbare carpet, the lamp casting shadows that danced like ghosts of what used to be. The phone sat silent on the nightstand, a black sentinel mocking my isolation. No calls from Harold, no tearful pleas from Lila, just the echo of Tom's last message on the facility's line before I vanished. Mom, pick up, this isn't funny. Funny? Nothing was funny anymore. The pain swelled then, hot tears tracing paths down cheeks wrinkled like old maps of sorrow. I sank to the floor, back against the bed, and let it come. The sobs that shook me like winter wind through bare branches. For the house, yes, with its creaking stairs that knew every stumble of their toddler feet. For the garden I tended, roses blooming red as the love I bled for them. But mostly for me, the woman they discarded like yesterday's news, too worn to warrant a second glance. Nights blurred into days, the motel clerk eyeing me each morning as I paid with crumpled bills from my secret stash. You okay, ma'am? Look like you seen a ghost. I forced a smile, thin as the soup they served in the facility. Just waiting on family, dear. They forget sometimes. Forget, that's what hurt deepest. The way they erased me piece by piece, I thought of Harold's office, high and gleaming, where he barked orders to underlings, while my voice, once his guiding star, faded to a whisper in his memory. Lila's parties, laughter spilling from her balcony overlooking the city I helped buy, toasting friends with champagne bought on my bent back, Tom's garage, tools scattered from half-finished dreams funded by the nest egg I hatched alone. They lived loud while I withered silent, walls closing in like judgmental eyes. Hunger gnawed, not just for food, though I picked at vending machine crackers. Crumbs dusting my lap like fallen hopes, but for touch, for a hand on my shoulder saying, "Mother, we're here." I dreamed of it, waking sweat-soaked, heart pounding. In one dream, they came to the facility door, arms open, but when I reached, their faces melted to strangers, laughing as they locked me deeper in. I'd bolt up gasping, the room spinning, and whisper your name like a prayer. "John, why did I give so much? Why did I let them take it all?" No answer, just the drip of the faucet, steady as regret. To pass the hours, I walked the motel strip, past diners where families laughed over pancakes, couples holding hands under neon signs. I'd sit on a bench, invisible as air, watching lives unfold without the scars of betrayal. An old couple shuffled by, her arm in his, and envy stabbed sharp. "That's what we had," I murmured, fingers tracing the empty ring spot on my hand. "You and me against the world, building from nothing until the children came, turning our duet to a chorus that soured over time. Now silence was my song, lyrics of loss looping endless. Ellen called once, her voice a lifeline through the receiver. "Ruth, the petition's filed, but stay low. They're asking questions at the home." Low. I was buried already, under layers of their lies. "Tell me true, Ellen, will I win this?" Pause, then soft, "You deserve to, love." That's what matters, deserve. The word tasted bitter, like medicine too late. I hung up, staring at the wall where wallpaper peeled like skin, revealing plaster cracked and gray. My reflection in the TV screen, dark and distorted, stared back, eyes hollow, hair wild. "Who are you now?" I asked the ghost. "The fool who loved too hard, or the woman who'll make them pay?" Pain turned inward then, a mirror to their cruelty. I replayed every slight, every time I bent for them. Harold's college, nights I sewed uniforms by flashlight to cover tuition. "Mom, you're the best," he'd said then, hugging tight. Best? Now I was burdened, obsolete. Lila's wedding dress altered 3 times because she changed her mind. My fingers bleeding from pins. "Couldn't do it without you," she'd cooed. Without me. She'd soar higher, unburdened. Tom's bail, after that bar fight, money from the emergency fund I'd built drop by drop. "You're my rock, Mom." Rock? They'd rolled me away into this abyss. The isolation festered, breeding doubts that whispered like the walls themselves. "Give up, Ruth, they're gone. Let it go." But no, the pain was teacher too, forging resolve in its fire. I wrote then, pages filling with the ache, letters never sent, pouring out the loneliness that clawed my throat. "Dear Harold, do you hear me in your sleep? The mother you silenced. Dear Lila, does the wind through your curtains carry my sighs? Dear Tom, do the stars wink at you with my tears?" Ink blurred with salt, pages crumpled and tossed, but each word a brick in the wall I built against despair. One evening, rain lashing the window like accusations, I cracked, paced until legs gave, collapsing in a heap, fists pounding carpet mute. Why me? Why now? Sobs racked, body folding small as a child's. Hours passed, storm raging mirror to my turmoil, until exhaustion claimed me, curled on the floor like a wounded animal. Woke to dawn's gray light, stiff and sore, but something shifted, a quiet acceptance, not defeat, but the eye of the hurricane. Pain hadn't broken me. It had hollowed me, making room for the storm to come. I rose slow, washed my face in the sink's cold stream, meeting my eyes in the spotted mirror. Enough, I said, voice cracking but firm. They left you alone, but alone means free. Free to hurt, yes, but free to heal, to plan. The word plan hung a promise. I unpacked my notebook, the one with lists like battle maps, and added a new page, the lies they live. Under it, truths scrawled. Harold's affair, pieced from Walt's report. Mistress tucked in apartments I funded. Lila's credit cards maxed on trips she hid. Tom's side hustles, shady deals in shadows. Their walls of deceit paper thin. Days stretched, each a lesson in solitude's sharp edges. I learned the motel's rhythms, the maid's cart at 9 clattering like chains. The trucker's roars at midnight, engines growling envy for motion. No one asked my story. I was just the old lady in 7B fading into beige. But in that fading I sharpened, mind turning over details like stones in a tumbler, polishing weapons from whispers. Maria called, voice hushed from the facility kitchen. Senora, they came looking, upset, said you're missing. Missing, as if I'd been a sock lost in the wash. I chuckled dark. Let them worry, Maria. Worry's the first payment. She laughed soft. Earl fixed the cameras. Blurry now, for you. Allies in the dark, their kindness stitches in my unraveling. Nights brought dreams vivid as wounds reopened. One, the kitchen table again, but reversed. They small, me towering, doling judgment. You took my gifts, dream me said, voice thunder. They begged, faces young and scared. Woke with gasp, heart racing, but not fear. Power tasting sweet on tongue. Hunger drove me out to the diner across the way, where coffee steamed and pies gleamed. Sat at the counter, nursing a mug black as my mood, eavesdropping on lives unbroken. A mother fussed over her boy tying his shoe. Careful, love. World bites. Bit me plenty. I smiled at her eyes meeting brief. He'll learn from you. Hold tight. She nodded, warmth flickering. Connection. Fleeting as steam, but enough to remind. Human still, not stone. Back in the room, pain crested again. Wave crashing. I lit a candle, stub from the facility smuggled, flame dancing shadows wild. Stared into it, murmuring memories. Your hands on mine, kneading dough. Children's laughter, pure before greed. I gave all, I told the flame, for scraps. Flame leaped as if agreeing, then steadied. But scraps make kindling. Wrote more, feverish. Poems of betrayal, rhymes rough but raw. Walls whisper lies of love long spent. Children come thieves. With hearts unbent alone I sit in silence deep. But from this dark my secrets creep. Folded them away. With the lists, fuel for the fire. A week in. Ellen's package arrived. Brown envelope under the door. No stamp. Inside, documents crisp. Her note. Leverage here. Sign and wait. Wait. Isolation's cruelest command. I signed, fingers steady. Mailed from the post office down the block. Blending with crowds like smoke. Phone rang then. Unknown number. Answered cautious. Mrs. Ellis, this is Detective Hale. Your children reported you missing. Welfare check. Welfare. Their game. I'm fine, detective. Just needed space. Pause. They say you're not yourself. Dementia. Rage flared, hot. My mind's sharper than their consciences. Tell them that. Hung up, shaking but alive. Fight pulsing. Lila's voice next. Sobbing on voicemail. Mom, please. We're scared. Come home. Home? The word knifed fresh. Listen twice. Her tears crocodile then deleted. Pain twisted, but I straightened. You're home now, daughter. Enjoy the echo. Tom called direct, kids shrieking background. Mom, Grandma's gone. Where? His voice cracked. Fear real or act? Tell them I'm adventuring, Tom. Like you always wanted. He pressed. This is serious. The money. Things are messy. Messy. Their bed unmade. Harold last. Voice steel. Mother, enough games. Return or consequences. Consequences? From the boy who cried for monsters under bed. Laughed outright. Consequences are coming, son. Yours. Hung up, room spinning with triumph and torment. Isolation's double edge cuts deep but carves clear. I saw them then, not children, but thieves in adult skins, walls of their lives built on my bones. To endure, I ritualized the pain. Mornings, coffee and lists, review debts, add interest. Afternoons, walks where wind whipped whispers of strength. Evenings, candle and confessions. To you, to God, to the empty chair. Today hurt less, John. Tomorrow less still. Maria visited once, drove in her old truck, hugged fierce in the parking lot. You look strong, Senora. Strong? Hollowed, maybe. We talked over diner food, her sharing her own losses. Son in prison, dreams jailed. Pain binds us, she said. I nodded. And unbinds when ready. She left candy for the road, sweets tart as truth. Ate one slow, sugar dissolving, slow as resolve hardening. October crept, leaves gold turning brown like hopes dying. News on the motel's TV, storms brewing, fitting my inner gale. Watch families on screen, holidays looming, dread coiling. Would they gather without me? Toast my absence with my wine. Doubt whispered again, walls echoing. You're alone forever. But no, I had Ellen, Maria, Earl, Walt, threads weaving net. One night, power outage plunged dark, thunder growling. Sat in black, fear rising like tide. Then memory, your voice calm in storms. Light your own way, Ruth. Struck match, candle blooming. Light small but mine. Pain peaked there, confessions spilling. I hate them, John, for the loneliness they gifted. Hate, ugly word but honest. Let it burn, then banked it. Fuel, not flame. Dawn brought clarity. Isolation was an end. It was forged. Hammered there, I emerged not whole but weaponized. Scars badges, not burdens, called Walt, voice steady. Deeper dig, find the cracks. He grunted. On it, doll. They'll crack first. Reports came. Emails to a burner account, Ellen said. Harold's firm audited, whispers of embezzlement. Lila's condo foreclosed, buyers circling. Tom's partners fleeing, debts calling. Their walls trembling, smiled then, first real since betrayal. Feel it yet, children, the whisper of walls closing. But pain lingered, shadow to joy. Nights still brought tears. Quiet now, watering seeds of justice. Walked to the river one day, water rushing like time stolen. Stood at edge, wine tugging hair. Throw it in, doubt urged. The notebook, the hate. But no, clutched tight. This is mine. They'll pay for every drop. Back. Wrote final entry for the pain page. Alone taught me. Silence screams loudest. Phone buzzed. Ellen's text. Hearing set. November. Be ready. Ready. Oh, I was. Pain my armor. Isolation my blade's edge. They thought me lost. But lost things return. Changed. Sharper. Hungrier. The walls whispered no more lies. Now truths of reckoning. Days ticked. Calendar on wall marking wounds healing. Breakfast grew solid. Eggs from the diner, protein for the fight. Strength returned. Legs surer, mind laser. Visited the library again. Books on survival. Castaways, prisoners. Stories of endurance. Souls bent but unbroken. Like me, I murmured. Pages turning soft under touch. A librarian, grey like me, noticed. Looking for inspiration. Inspiration, yes. For revenge, I said, half jest. She paused, then smiled sly. Best kind. Try this. Handed a tale of a widow reclaiming her due. Red nights, under blanket fort of sheets. Flashlight beam narrow as hope. Inspired, I sketched letters. Not pleas, but demands. Drafts only, words honed. Return what's mine, or lose more. Filed away, for the hour. Tom's kids sent drawings forwarded by Maria. Crayon houses, stick figure grandmas. Miss you, scrawled big. Heart cracked fresh, pain lancing. Sat with them hours tracing lines. Soon, loves. Grandma's coming. Folded careful with the plans. Lila's birthday neared. 38th? No, 42nd time thief. Remembered cakes baked, songs sung. Now silence my gift. Imagined her party, hollow without my blessing. Good. Harold's promotion, buzzed on news site Ellen emailed. Vice President Ellis, proud once. Now poison. Climb high, son. Fall hurts more. Isolation's gift, perspective. Saw their greed clear. My love wasted not, but weaponized. Storm hit hard one night, roof leaking, pot catching drips rhythmic as heartbeat. Lay listening, pain ebbing to resolve. They lock you away, I told the dark. But locks break from inside. Morning, sun-pierced clouds, rainbow faint. Omen! Stepped out, air fresh, washed. Felt it, shift. Pain companion now, not captor. Called Maria. Tell Earl thanks. For the dark, she chuckled. Dark makes light brighter. Yes, and light was coming. Theirs dimming. Walt's call. Got gold. Harold's emails. Company funds to personal. Lila's loans. Forged cigs. Tom's truck. Hot. Gold indeed. Print it all. Packages sent anonymous to their bosses, banks, exes. Seeds sown, waiting sprout. First call came panicked. Harold. Mom, you behind this? The audit, it's killing me. Killing poetic. What audit, son? Sounds stressful. Hung up to his sputter. Layla next. Mom, the bank's calling. My signature. It's not. Please. Please. Music. Tom. Debts collectors at door. Kids scared. Help? Help. Irony sweet. Answered none full. Just hints. Fix your lies, dears. Truth freeze. Their isolation now. Friends questioning. Deals souring. Walls whispering back. Mine eased. Pain dulled to ache. Strengths bloomed. November loomed. Hearing like horizon. Prepared speeches in mirror. Voice steady. Eyes fire. They betrayed. I reclaim. Ellen coached over phone. Calm, Ruth. Facts over fury. Fury banked, yes. But ready one last walk, river singing. Through Pebblein, ripples wide. For them, I said. Ripples reached far out back, packed light. Notebook, locket, candy stubs. Motel clerk waved. Safe travels, ma'am. Travels. To justice. Phone silent now. Theirs, fearing. Mine waiting. Isolation ended not with bang, but quiet click. Door opening to the storm. But oh, the peace in that click. Pain's chains broken. Walls lied no more. Truth roared. Walls lied no more. Truth roared. And in that roar, I heard it clear as a church bell on Sunday morning. The spark, tiny at first, flickering in the cold ashes of my pain, like a match struck in the dead of night. It wasn't much, just a warmth against the chill that had seeped into my bones from all those lonely hours in the motel. But oh, it grew, fed by the winds of their coming storm. I stood there in the dim light of that room, the door half open to the world I'd hidden from, and felt it catch, that spark, turning the hurt I'd carried like a stone in my chest into something alive, something hungry. They thought they'd snuffed me out, locked away the fire that warmed their childhood suppers, and lit their way through dark times. But fire doesn't die easy when there's dry tinder waiting. And I was dry as old leaves, ready to blaze. I closed the door soft that morning, the click echoing like a promise kept, and sat at the rickety table by the window. My notebook opened before me like a Bible of grudges. The pages rustled under my fingers, each one a testament to the gifts they'd taken. Not just the house or the money, but the pieces of me they'd chipped away with their careless words and greedy hands. Harold's promotion, Lila's shiny condo, Tom's endless, fresh starts, all built on the sweat I wiped from my brow while they slept to sound. But now, with Ellen's papers tucked safe in my bag and Walt's reports whispering secrets in my ear, that spark leaped from page to page, igniting plans I'd only dreamed in whispers. No more waiting, I said to the empty room, my voice rough from disuse, but steady as the river that ran behind the motel. Time to fan this flame. The first breath of it came easy. like remembering how to breathe after holding it too long. I walked out into the crisp November air, coat pulled tight against the bite, and headed to the little coffee shop down the block, the one with the bell that jingled like laughter when you entered. The waitress, a girl with tired eyes and a name tag reading Bev, poured my cup without asking, black and strong, just how I'd ordered it the week before. "Rough night?" she asked, sliding over a napkin with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I nodded, stirring slow, watching the spoon circle like my thoughts. "Rough years, honey, but the dawn's breaking." She leaned in then, wiping the counter with a rag that smelled of lemon and lost hopes. "Tell me about it. My ex took the kids in the car last month, left me with bills and silence." Silence. The word hung between us, heavy as the steam rising from my mug. I reached across, patted her hand. Soft skin, young but lined already. "Silence is where the spark hides, Bev. Wait for it to warm you." We talked that morning, words spilling like tea from a tipped pot. Her dreams of nursing school dashed by a man who promised the moon and delivered dust. My tales of children who grew thorns instead of wings. Not the full story, no, just enough to feel the spark shared, jumping from my heart to hers like a secret handshake. "What'll you do?" she asked, refilling my cup free. I smiled then, the kind that crinkles eyes and straightens backs. "What any woman does when the world's gone cold. Light a fire under it." She laughed, a real one, and slipped me a muffin wrapped in wax paper. "For the road." "Burn bright, ma'am." "Burn bright." I carried those words with me, muffin crumbling sweet in my pocket. As I stepped back into the street, the spark now a steady glow in my chest, pushing me toward the bus stop and the city where my old life waited like a half-read book. The ride was long, windows fogged with breath from strangers huddled close, but I didn't mind. Each mile ticked past farms turning gold with autumn, barns sagging like old men with stories untold. And I let the spark feed on memories, not the painful ones. Not yet, but the good, the fuel that built me strong. You and me, John, in the early days, dancing slow in the kitchen to that scratchy radio. Your hands warm on my waist, whispering, "We'll make it, Ruth. For them, for them." The children who came squalling into our world, demanding everything and giving back smiles that lit rooms brighter than any bulb. Harold's first steps wobbly toward the table where supper steamed. Leela's songs, voice high and clear as a bird at dawn. Tom's grins, gap-toothed and full of mischief, chasing fireflies in jars that glowed like captured stars. Gifts I gave freely then, from a heart overflowing, not knowing the day would come when those same hands would close around my throat. But the spark knew better. It whispered as the bus rumbled. That fire didn't die. It banked low, waiting, and oh, it had waited patient through fevers and funerals, through empty nests and echoing halls. Now, with the petition filed and their worlds starting to crack, Harold's calls going to voicemail from bosses sniffing fraud, Lila's friends whispering about bounced checks, Tom's truck repossessed in the night, that waiting ended. The spark flared brighter, urging me to Ellen's office, a squat building downtown with stairs that creaked like confessions. Ellen met me at the door, her hug fierce and flour-dusted, always baking that one, even after her own husband ran off with a younger model. "Ruthie, you look alive." Alive. The word wrapped around me like a shawl, warm against the chill of isolation I'd left behind. We sat in her cluttered back room, papers stacked high as grudges, and she spread the maps of my revenge like a general plotting war. "The hearing's in 2 weeks. We've got incapacity claims, undue influence, enough to unwind the sale, get the house back, and maybe claw some of that money. Money, not for luxury, no, but for the peace I'd earned, a roof without their shadows." I traced the lines with a finger gnarled from years of work, the spark dancing in my veins. "And the extras? The lies they've layered." Ellen's eyes sharpened, glasses slipping down her nose. "Walt's got photos, statements, Anonymous tips to the right ears. IRS for Harold, Credit Bureau for Lila, cops for Tom's side gigs. It'll burn slow, Ruth, like a fuse you light and walk away from. Burn slow. Perfect. I nodded. The muffin from Bev now gone, but its sweetness lingering, fueling the fire. Light it then. I've waited long enough. We planned deep into the afternoon. Calls to witnesses, old neighbors who'd seen the truck haul my life away. Letters to the grandchildren, gentle ones promising stories when the dust settled. Even a quiet word to the facility director, hinting at lawsuits if mouths ran loose. Each step fed the spark, turning it from ember to flame, my voice growing surer as I spoke. They said I owed nothing, Ellen. But oh, the debt's theirs. Every tear, every night I lay awake, wondering where I went wrong. Wrong? No, the wrong was theirs, and the spark showed me clear. As I left her office, sun dipping low and painting the streets gold, I felt it roar soft in my ears. A lioness waking from slumber. Walked to the park nearby, benches empty now with cold creeping in, and sat watching pigeons strut like kings of the sidewalk. An old vendor pushed a cart, hot chestnuts steaming, and I bought a bag, warmth seeping through paper to my hands. "For the chill, lady?" he asked, accent thick as stew. I peeled one, steam curling like secrets. "For the soul, more like. Ever had family turn on you?" He paused, eyes distant over the city skyline. "Wife's brother once. Took the shop out from under us. Burned me bad. Burned." The word hung, and I offered him a nut. "Did you let it snuff you?" He chewed slow, shaking head. "Nah, built another cart. Hotter fire. Hotter fire." I laughed then, sharing the bag. Stories trading like currency. His of markets in far lands. Mine of kitchens where love cooked slow until it soured. By dusk, the spark was a bonfire in my belly, chasing shadows from corners I'd let linger too long. Took the bus back to the motel, but not to stay, no, just to gather my things. The notebook fat now with new sketches, timelines of their falls, notes on safe houses if needed. Even a poem scratched hasty about flames that consume the hand that strikes the match. Bev was off shift, but her tip jar jingled extra from my quarters. A silent thanks for the muffin that started the day right. Packed light, as always. Locket, knife from Earl, papers sealed tight, and hailed a cab to the edge of town, where a cousin's farm waited, empty since she passed last spring. "Quiet place," Ellen had said. "Good for thinking." Thinking? No, for fanning flames. The cab dropped me at the gate, gravel crunching under tires like bones underfoot, and I paid the driver with a nod. "Watch the road, son." "Storm's coming!" He tipped his hat, oblivious, and rumbled away, leaving me with the farmhouse silhouetted against stars pricking the sky like needles. The key turned easy in the lock, rusty but willing, and inside dust danced in moonbeams through cracked windows, air thick with memories of hay and laughter long gone. I lit a lantern, flame steady as my pulse now, and settled in the rocker by the hearth, notebook on lap. The spark, no, the fire now, crackled soft as I read back through the pages, each betrayal a log tossed on. Harold's voice on the phone, clipped and cold. "Sign, mother." Lila's pat on the hand, fleeting as frost. Tom's wave from the car, eyes on his screen, not me. But oh, the strength in that reading, pain transmuted, alchemized into power. I whispered to the empty room. "You thought me ash, children, but ash feeds the fiercest blaze." Sleep came deep that night. Dreams not of loss, but of light, me standing tall in the kitchen, hands glowing while they circled moth-like, drawn to the heat they once scorned. Woke with the fire banked but burning, dawn painting the walls pink as a promise. Days on the farm blurred into a rhythm of reclamation, each one stoking the flames higher. Mornings, I'd tend the garden overrun with weeds, pulling them fierce, roots tearing like truths unearthed. This ground's mine, I'd mutter, dirt under nails black as ink. Grew food for you once, now it grows my resolve. Afternoons, walks through fields where wind whispered old secrets, carrying scents of earth turned over ready for seed. I'd pause at the fence, staring towards the city lights faint on the horizon, imagining their nights, Harold pacing boardrooms with sweat beading, Lila scrolling feeds for validation that crumbled, Tom staring at eviction notices with hands that shook, their sparks snuffed by their own winds, mine roaring free. Ellen called midweek, voice buzzing with news. Tips landed, Ruth. Harold suspended pending review. Something about irregular transfers. Irregular. Code for theft. I chuckled into the receiver, rocking slow. Good. Let him feel the chill. She paused, then. Lila's condo. Foreclosure notice posted. She's calling lawyers left and right. Lawyers. Theirs scrambling now. And Tom? Ellen sighed. Cops picked him up for questioning. That truck? Stolen plates. Stolen fitting. The fire leaped in my chest, warm, not wild, but sure. Keep feeding it, Ellen. Slow-born. Hanging up, I stepped outside, air sharp with coming frost, and gathered wood from the shed. Logs dry and waiting like me. Built a fire in the pit out back. Flames licking high as I fed it scraps from the notebook. Old lists of hurts, crumpled and tossed, watching them curl black and gone. Burn clean, I told the blaze. Smoke curling skyward like prayers answered. Sat by it till embers glowed. Chestnuts from the vendor roasted on sticks, popping sweet. Ate slow, savoring. The spark now a hearth that warmed deep. Nights brought the deepest stoking. Lantern low as I wrote. Not lists now, but letters true, sealed with wax dripped red from the candle. To Harold. Son, remember the bike? Red streamers flying as you pedaled home from school. Safe because I watched. Now watch your back. The road's turned. To Lila. Daughter, the dress I sewed. Stitches of love in every seam. Unravel yours careful. Threads pull loose. To Tom. Boy, the glove that caught your dreams. Leather soft from my savings. Catch this. Dreams die when you kill the hand that throws. Mailed none. Not yet. Too soon for the blaze to leap full, but folded them in the notebook. Embers banked for the hearing. A storm hit Friday. Wind howling like banshees around the eaves. Rain lashing windows till they rattled. I sat by the hearth fire roaring defiance and let the thunder drum my heartbeat. Power flickered, then died, plunging dark, but I didn't fear. No, the spark inside lit the room brighter than any bulb. Told stories to the shadows then, voice steady. Of you and me, John, forging our fire from factory scraps and stubborn hope. Of births in summer heat, tiny fists waving like flags of surrender. Of holidays where the table groaned under pies I baked till hands blistered. Gifts, I said to the dark, not debts. Lightning cracked, illuminating faces in the flames. Theirs young and wide-eyed, then hardening to the strangers who locked me away. You forgot the fire in a mother's heart, I whispered, but it remembers you. Dawn broke clear. Sky washed blue as a new slate, and I rose with the sun, body aching less, spirit straight. Walked to the mailbox at the road's end, mud sucking at boots like doubts trying to pull me down, but I strode through, head high. A letter waited, not from them but from Maria, envelope thick with her careful script. Senora, the kids ask for you. I tell stories of your strength. Earl says the locks hold but hearts don't. Come back soon. Hearts mine mended by the spark beating strong. Enclosed was a photo, snapped sneaky at the facility garden, me on the bench with the old man, smiles shared like contraband. Tucked it in the locket with yours, John, 2 fires now. The farm gave more than shelter. It gave silence to hear the spark sing. Mornings, I'd hum old tunes as I swept floors warped with time. Songs you loved, John, with words of enduring. of flames that weather storms. They keep it lit, I'd sing, broom dancing like a partner. Afternoons, piecing quilts from scraps in the attic, fabrics faded but fierce, patches of their baby blankets sewn in, not for comfort, but reminder. Threads of what was, I'd say, needle pricking sharp, now woven tight for what's to come. Walt called Sunday, voice gravel over the line. More dirt, Ruth. Harold's girl? Talking to the press. Lila's debts? Creditors at her door. Tom's out on bail, but partners ghosted, like they did me. The fire purred contempt. Good man. Send copies, certified quiet. He grunted. You're a force, old-timer. Like my ma, God rest her. Ma. The word softened edges, but I hardened quick. Mothers are, Walt. When pushed, that night fire high, I danced alone in the kitchen. Slow steps, hips swaying to phantom music, arms out as if you held me. Feel it, John. The spark they couldn't kill. Laughter bubbled, free and full, echoing off walls that held no lies. Only truths roaring soft, weak blurred, hearing looming like a mountain to climb. But the fire made me light. Visited the county seat the Monday, courthouse steps worn smooth as my resolve, filing addendums with the clerk, a young woman with eyes kind. Family trouble? She asked, stamping papers thunderous. I met her gaze. Family fire, dear? Burning bright. She smiled sly. Hope it warms you. Back on the farm, the spark, fire now, revealed hidden strengths I'd forgotten. Hands that once rocked cradles now steady for the gavel. Voice that soothed fevers now honed for testimony. Heart that forgave endless now fierce injustice. They left ashes, I told the mirror. Glass fogged from tea steaming. I built phoenix from them. News trickled. Harold's suspension permanent. Firm crumbling under audits like sand castles to tide. Lila's party cancelled, invites retracted with excuses thin. Tom's kids pulled from school, fees unpaid. Their sparks? Fizzling. Mine? Inferno. Ellen prepped me Tuesday, over phone patched crackly. Practice your words, Ruth. Pain to power. I did. Pacing fields. Voice carrying on wind. They betrayed the hand that fed them. I seek not revenge, but reckoning. Reckoning. The word tasted like chestnuts, warm and right. Wednesday. A package. Waltz. Fat with evidence. Emails printed. Photos glossy with guilt. Poured over by lantern. Fire in hearth mirroring the one inside. Perfect, I breathed. Sealing copies for the judge. Thursday doubt flickered. Brief, august. But the spark steadied quick. Sat by the pit, embers glowing, and whispered, Hold, Ruth. Fire needs air. Air came in memories. Grandchildren's hugged. Friday Eve, storm brewed again, but I welcomed it. Rain to quench nothing, only feed roots deep. Rocked on the porch, thunder rolling, lightning etching skies like veins of gold. Hear that, children? I called to the dark. That's your world cracking. Mine, ablaze. Saturday dawned fierce, sun blazing like Judgment Day. Packed the bag. Notebook, letters, locket ticking time. Called a cab, driver humming tunes I knew. Big day, he asked. I smiled wide. The biggest sun. Fires lit. Road to the city. Heart drumming rhythm to the engine's growl. The spark no longer silent, but symphony. Courthouse loomed. Steps climbed with legs sure. Fire roaring in my soul. Inside air thick with polish and promise. I sat in the hall, waiting my turn. Voices murmured, lawyers slick, families frayed, but mine, silent, saving breath for the blaze. When called, stood tall, voice clear as cracked ice. Your Honor, they took my home, my peace, but they couldn't take my fire, and oh, how it burned then. Truths spilling like lava, evidence stacking like logs. Their lawyers squirmed, faces pale as milk. Harold in the back, eyes down. Lila dabbing tears staged. Tom fidgeting, chains invisible but tight. The gavel fell by noon. Sale reversed, house mine, penalties pending. Justice served, the judge said, voice grave. Justice. The word fed the flames highest. Outside, air crisp, sun winking, I breathed deep. Spark to fire, pain to power. They scattered, tails between legs, but I walked free, firelight in my eyes. Ellen hugged tight. You did it, Rusi. Did it? Oh, just begun. The blaze roared on, hungry for more. Back to the farm that night. Fire pit, roaring welcome, I toasted with cider tart. To the spark in silence, strongest of all. Silence answered, but full now, of peace, of power, of flames eternal. Silence answered, but full now, of peace, of power, of flames eternal. And in that fullness, I felt the threads calling, fine as spider silk, but strong as the ropes that once tied ships to docks in storms your father weathered. John, threads of secrets, spun from the shadows they cast me into, ready now to weave the web that would ensnare them all. Oh, it wasn't rash work, no frantic knots thrown in anger's heat, but patient, deliberate. Like the lace I crocheted by lamplight those long winters when money was thin and hope thinner still. Each loop a lie they'd told, each chain, stitch a gift they'd stolen, building a trap so intricate they'd walk right in, thinking it the path to their ease. I sat there on the farm porch that first night after the hearing, the cider cup cool in my hand, stars wheeling overhead like eyes keeping watch, and let the weaving begin in my mind, step by hidden step, invisible to all but me. The farm was the perfect loom, quiet and cloistered, with rooms that held echoes but no ears to hear my murmurs. I rose with the moon still high, slipping inside to the kitchen table, scarred from decades of meals shared and arguments hushed, and spread my tools before me, the notebook fat with flames, Walt's package of proofs like cards in a stacked deck, Ellen's fresh letters stamped with a court seal. A single candle burned, flame steady as my breath now, casting light just enough to read by without spilling secrets to the night. Start small, I whispered to the shadows, voice low as a confessor's. Threads fine, web wide. The first strand was Harold's, always the eldest, the one who led their little mutiny with that lawyer's smile. His emails from Walt's hall, crisp prints smelling of ink and deceit, showed transfers sly. Company funds siphoned to accounts in his name, padded with my house money like frosting on a cake baked in another's oven. Embezzlement, I breathed, tracing the numbers with a finger that trembled not from fear, but fury banked low. Not enough for jail, not yet, but a nudge to the right desk, and oh, how the threads would pull. I wrote the letter then, not to him, but to his firm's board, a missive typed on the old machine Ellen loaned, anonymous as a ghost's sigh. Words careful, laced with facts, dates, amounts, account numbers pulled from the prints like thorns from flesh. A concerned observer notes irregularities in Mr. Harold Ellis's dealings. For the good of the company, review attached. Attached? Oh yes, scans of the emails, blurred just enough to deny, but clear enough to damn. Sealed it in an envelope plain brown. Address handwritten in a script not mine. Practiced from library books on forgery, light as air. Mailed it come dawn from the crossroads post, blending with farmers' bills and lovers' notes, the web's first strand cast loose. Back on the farm, the weaving quickened, threads multiplying like rabbits in spring. Lila next, my girl with the laugh like bells, turned sour. Her debts, Walt's reports showed, piled high as the lies she told over champagne toasts, credit lines maxed on dresses and dinners. The condo mortgage juggled with forgeries on my signature, scanned hasty from the power papers they'd forced. Mom's approval she'd scrawled, hand shaky with greed. I chuckled dark then, folding the pages, and planned her strand. Calls to the banks, not direct, but through proxies Ellen knew. Old clerks with grudges against the rich who skipped payments. Inquire about the Ellis loan I'd script for them. Voice disguised, low over payphones in distant towns. Fraud suspected. No accusations outright, just questions that bloomed to audits, vines choking her pretty life. The first call that afternoon from a booth smelling of stale smoke, my voice gravel from a cold cloth held to throat. Hello, First National. Yes, about that mortgage. 142 Oak. Signature looks off. Check it. The teller paused, keys clacking. We'll look into it, ma'am. Hung up, heart ticking like a clock winding tight. The thread pulled taut. Tom's web came thicker, woven from the rough yarns of his scams. That truck with plates borrowed from wrecks. Business loans from sharks who circled now with teeth bared. Walt's photos caught him mid-handshake, with men whose eyes screamed trouble. Deals in parking lots lit dim by sodium lamps. My baby boy, I murmured. Pain flickering brief as a struck match before the fire swallowed it whole. His strand would be the cops. Tips dropped subtle to the tip line. Voice muffled behind scarves. Heard about a chop shop on Elm. Ellis involved. Stolen rides. No names full. Just enough to hook the bait. Reels turning slow till he thrashed caught. Called that evening, dusk painting the fields purple. The line ringing endless before a gruff voice answered. Tip line. I leaned close, breath fogging glass. Yeah, got info on auto theft. Tom Ellis, garage on 5th. Plates don't match. Click of a pen, question sharp. Details. Gave scraps. Hung quick, the web trembling with life. Nights deepened the work. Candle burning low as I charted the weave. Notebook pages, now diagrams. Lines connecting their sins like stars in a dark sky. Harold's board letter linked to Lila's bank probe. Her fallout feeding Tom's cop net. A circle closing slow. No escape, I told the flame. Wax dripping like tears sealed shut. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of spiders with my face. Legs delicate but deadly. Spinning rooms full of silk that bound them wriggling. Woke with silk threads on my mind. Real ones. From the attic trunk. Lace doilies, yellowed but whole. Reminders of gifts I crocheted for their hope chests. Now repurposed as patterns for the trap. Traced them by daylight. Hook clicking rhythmic. Each loop a step. Gather allies. Click, plant seeds. Click, wait for the tug. Allies wove in quiet. Threads pulled from the past's loom. Maria first, her call coming mid-morning. Voice warm as fresh tortillas. Senora, you safe? The home buzzes. Your kids asking, mad. Good. Safe and spinning. Maria, need your eyes. Watch Harold's visits. Note the car, the time. She paused, then laughed, soft. Like old times spying on the boys in the yard. Done. Her strand strong, woven with loyalty born of shared silences. Earl next, gruff over the line patched through Ellen. Lock still good, ma'am. What's the fix now? Fixed? Their fates. Eyes on the mail, Earl. Lila's checks. Forward if they come. He grunted. Sneaky work for you. Aye. Men like him, rough but true. Threads of iron in the silk. Walt's line hummed constant. His reports arriving weekly in unmarked vans that rumbled up the drive like thieves in reverse. More on Harold. Meetings with the missus, not his. Photos. I nodded to the empty air, though he couldn't see. Send and dig Lila's circle. Friends with loose lips. He chuckled gravel. Web's getting tangled, eh? They'll trip. Tangled, yes, but mine to navigate. His last drop, a thumb drive fat with files. Videos grainy of Tom's deals. Audio clips of Harold's calls boasting family funds. Played them nights. Speakers, tinny. Their voices ghosts in the dark. Listen to yourselves, I whispered, pausing at Lila's laugh, brittle now. Threads unraveling. Ellen anchored the weave. Her office calls blueprints for the legal strands. Subpoenas prepped, not served yet, but hanging like swords. The hearing won the house, Ruth, but these Civil suits for fraud, emotional distress. Weave tight, tight as the scarf I knit that winter you coughed blood, John. Needles flying to keep hands busy, heart steady. File when? She hummed thought. After the first pulls, let their panic loosen tongues. Panic. Oh, it came quick. First tugs rippling the web. Harold's board acted swift. Letter answered not to me, but in papers Ellen clipped from the local rag. Ellis on leave amid inquiry. Leave, from the throne I'd helped build. His call came that night, number blocked but voice breaking through on a new line. Mother, what's happening? The firms, they think I stole. Stole. Irony sweet as pie crust. I let silence stretch, then soft. Stole? From who, son? Echoes ring. He sputtered, words stumbling. This isn't you. The audit, someone tipped. Tipped. The web quivered. Prayers go up, Harold. Truce comes down. Hung up to his pleas. Thread humming with tension. Leela's bank probe bore fruit next. Call from her sobbing over the farm's old rotary. Line crackling like her composure. Mom, they froze everything. The condos, liens everywhere. Did you? Did I? Weave, yes. Liens. For what debt, dear? She wailed, words slurring through tears. The mortgage, they say fraud. Your signature, but she had hook, line, and sinker. Signatures bind, Lila, or break. Click. Her strand yanked, pulling others taut. Tom's cops came knocking audible over Maria's whisper call. Senora, badges at his door. Yelling about plates, chop shop. Yelling. Music to my ears, tuned from lullabies to laments. He rang frantic dawn next, voice hoarse. Mom, jail? Me? The kids. Kids. The one soft spot but hardened now. Choices catch up, Tom. A run no more. Hung to his curses. Web vibrating full. The tugs fed the weave. Momentum building like a river swelling after rain. I ventured to town twice weekly now. Blending with crowds at markets. Ears open for whispers. Over apples at the stand. Old Mrs. Greer, your bridge partner, John, clucked tongue. Heard about the Ellis boy? Trouble at work, boy, still to her. I nodded grave, buying extra for pie. Trouble finds the proud, Mabel, pies fix much. Fixed? No, but sweetened the watch. Back home the notebook swelled. Entries daily. Harold meeting lawyer 3 p.m. Tale? Walt on it. Photos arriving of suits and sweat. Lila pawned the pearls. Yours, ma'am. Pearls. Gift returned to dust. Good. Track the shop. Tom's bail hearing. Ellen whispering outcomes. Probation if he flips on partners. Flips. The web's beauty. One thread gives all tighten. Winter crept early that year. Frost silvering fields like secrets iced over. But the farm held warm. Stove fed constant with wood I chopped myself. Axe swinging sure. Each strike a step in the weave. Chop clean, I'd grunt. Splinters flying like lies exposed. Afternoons, hook in hand, crocheting not doilies now but scarves for allies. Maria's red as her fire, Earl's gray as his grit. Mailed them quiet, notes tucked, warmth for the work. Their replies, threads binding tighter. One eve, snow falling. Soft as lice, they once told. Ellen drove up unannounced, tires crunching white. Ruth, the suits, file tomorrow? Tomorrow. The weave's midpoint, where strands cross and hold. We sat by the fire, cocoa steaming, papers spread like a quilt of justice. Yes, all three, fraud, theft, distress. She eyed me sharp. Regrets? Regrets? Threads of doubt, brief, only that I waited. Waited? No. Wove perfect, filed at dawn. Courthouse quiet as a confessional, stamps thudding like heartbeats synced. Served by noon, the clerk said, eyes curious. Noon came with calls. They're lawyers, voices oily. Mrs. Ellis, cease this. Family matter. Family, the web scoffed. Family debts paid slow, counselor. Tugs intensified then. Web alive with their struggles. Harold's leave turned termination. Headlines small but sharp. Exec ousted in fun scandal. He showed at the farm gate one dusk, coat dusted snow, face gaunt as famine. "Mother, please. The house, can I stay? Just till." "Till?" The web quivered, but I held the door cracked, voice even. "Stay? Where's your key, son? Lost with your honor." He begged, knees to gravel. "I was wrong. The money I'll repay." "Repay. Too late for that thread. Go home, Harold. Weave your own. Shut the door soft." His sobs muffled by wind, the strand snapping taut. Lila arrived next morn, heels sinking snow, makeup streaked like rivers of regret. "Mom, evicted. The condo's gone. Let me in." "In? To what? The trap half sprung?" I poured tea, sat her by the stove, watched her shiver, not from cold. "Gone? For what, dear?" She spilled then, words tumbling. Forgeries, debts, a lover who fled with the last card. "You always said forgive." "Forgive?" The web whispered no. Forgave once. Now justice knits tight. She left crying, thread pulled to breaking. Tom last, truck rumbling up at midnight, kids asleep in back. "Mom, hide us, cops everywhere." Everywhere? The web's reach. I bundled the little one's blankets, fed them milk warm, but to him, "Hide? From what truths, Tom?" He paced, fists clenched. "The deals, bad ones, bails jumped." "Jumped. Fitting. Leap yourself out, son. My web holds no more thieves." He raged, then wilted, driving off with pleas trailing smoke. The weave held through the storm, threads gleaming wet but unbroken. Allies reported, Maria's eyes on their mail, forwarding pink slips and summons, Earl's ears on the facility gossip, their visits to mother, now desperate plays for sympathy. Waltz digs deeper, Harold's ex-colleagues talking, Lila's salon blacklisting, Tom's garage padlocked, each tug a knot tied, web domed now over their scrambling. Spring teased early, snow melting to mud that sucked at steps like grasping hands. But the farm bloomed defiant, crocuses pushing through, purple as bruises healing. I walked the rows, hook in pocket, planning the final weaves, grandchildren's letters, gentle hooks to pull them clear, a trust for them, threaded safe from parents' falls. "Innocence spared," I murmured to the wind, petals nodding. Ellen called, victory small. Suits settled out of court. Reparations, no jail if they behave. Behave, the web's lesson. Good. But the house, mine full, full with echoes mine alone. Summer hummed in, web complete, but quivering still with aftershocks. Harold jobless, scraping sales. Lila waitressing, smiles forced. Tom clean, garage legit, but eyes haunted. They called sporadic, voices humbled. "Mom, advice?" "Advice? Weave careful, children. Threads bind." I sat porch evenings now, hook idle, watching fireflies dance like sparks unbound. The web hung invisible, dew-kissed, secrets kept. "Done," I whispered to the stars, peace threading through. But oh, the power in that weave, step by hidden step, trap sprung true. But oh, the power in that weave, step by hidden step, trap sprung true. And with the trap set, I slipped into the shadows like a breath of night air through a cracked window, unseen but felt in the chill that raised gooseflesh on their arms when they thought themselves alone. No more the woman locked in beige rooms or motels with peeling walls. Now I was the ghost they half remembered from bedtime stories, the one who whispered warnings in the dark before the dawn broke harsh. I moved through their world careful, a silhouette against their bright lives that were dimming fast, pulling strings so fine they mistook the tug for bad luck or the wind of change. Oh, it wasn't vengeance wild and roaring like the fires I'd banked. It was this quiet dance, steps measured where I led and they followed blind. their regrets blooming like bruises under skin. The farm stayed my anchor that spring. Roots deep in soil I'd turned with my own hands, but I ventured out more now, cloaked in the ordinary, a scarf over hair gone silver, glasses dark as secrets, steps soft on paths they never trod. First pull was Harold's, my eldest with his suits pressed sharp but heart creased deep. After the ousting from his firm, papers fluttering like fallen leaves in his mailbox, he took to the bottle quiet. Nights in bars downtown, where smoke curled thick and men nursed losses like babes. I knew because Walt's eyes never slept. Reports slipped under the farm door. Photos grainy of Harold hunched over whiskey, tie loose as his morals. Time to dance close, I murmured to the lantern's glow, folding the shots away. Dress plain that Friday, skirt from the attic trunk, blouse buttoned high. I took the bus to the city, ticket paid cash, seat by the window where reflections hid my face. The bar was a dim hole called O'Malley's, neon sign buzzing like a trapped fly, door swinging on hinges that creaked complaint. I slipped in mid-evening, air heavy with beer and broken dreams, and claimed a stool at the end, far from the light, but near the mirror that threw back fractured truths. Ordered a ginger ale, fist bubbling soft as my thoughts, and waited, eyes down but ears open. Harold came stumbling in at 9 sharp, coat slung over arm, face flushed with the day's defeats. He didn't see me, not at first. Bellied up to the bar 3 seats over, voice slurring to the barkeep. Double scotch. Make you forget. Forget. The word twisted in me like a dull knife, remembering the nights I'd held him through nightmares, whispering, Mama's here. No forgetting. But now, he forgot easy, drowning me in amber waves. I watched him in the mirror's sly gaze, his shoulders sagging under the weight of suits he'd never wear again, fingers drumming the wood like Morse for mercy. The barkeep poured, ice clinking judgment, and Harold sipped slow, eyes distant over the rim. That's when I leaned just a touch, letting my voice drift light, disguised with a cough from the ginger's bite. Rough go, mister? Looks like the world's chewing you up. He turned slow, eyes bleary but sharpening on my face. Strangers to him, lined with years not his to claim. You could say, lost my job, family, complications. My weave pulling tight, I nodded sage, stirring my drink with a straw that bent like will. Family's the worst cut. Mine turned on me once, took the house, the savings, left me shadows. His laugh barked bitter, glass thunking down. Sounds familiar. Kids think you're a bank, not blood. Mine sold my home out from under me. Sold! The word hung mirror catching his wince. We talked then, strangers in a booth dim, my words honeyed hooks. What did you do? He asked, scotch loosening his tongue. I sighed, dramatic, eyes misty with real tears banked for show. Fought back quiet, letters to banks, whispers to friends. Watched him squirm. His eyes lit faint, hope flickering like the bar's faulty bulb. Yeah? Worked. Oh, weaving wonders. Slow but sure. One lost his fancy car, repossessed after a tip on bad loans. Another her jewels pawned for debts that came calling. Pawned, like my pearls on Lila's neck, now dust. He leaned in, breath sour. Tips like what? I smiled faint, sipping fizz. Anonymous. Truths they hid, wrapped plain, mailed to the right ears. Ears, the web's listeners. He bought me another ginger, hand shaky on the glass, and spilled then. His siphonings, small at first, just to keep up, then greedy. House money the capstone. They said you owe nothing, Mom. I mean, my mother. But she did. Everything. The knife turned gentle in my chest, pain old friend now. Mothers give all. Debt's theirs when they take without ask. He nodded fierce, tears welling. Gonna fight. Lawyer up. Lawyer. Ellen's shadow loomed. Good, but careful. Truth bites back. Bit back? Mine had. Teeth sharp. Left him there at midnight. Bill settled anonymous from my purse, slipping out with a pat on his shoulder. Light ghost touch. Dance your way out, son, I whispered, too low for ears. Bus waiting cold under stars. Back on the farm by dawn, sleep came sweet, dreams of strings pulled. Harold's face pale in the weave's glow. Lila's dance came next week. Her world a whirl of foreclosures and friends fleeing like rats from rain. Walt's watch showed her waitressing at a cafe upscale, once, now desperate. Apron tied tight over dresses faded, smiles sold by the coffee pot. Close now, I told the mirror. Fog from tea steaming my reflection fierce. Dressed finer that Tuesday. Blouse from your old trunk, John. Pearls restrung simple. I took the train to her corner of the city. Streets lined with shops she'd once window-gawked greedy. The cafe hummed midday. Bells tinkling custom. Air sweet with pastries she'd never bake like mine. I claimed a table corner, menu up like shield. Eyes on the door where she bustled. Hair pinned hasty, laugh forced for tips. She didn't know me under hat brim low, serving strangers with grace cracked at edges. Ordered tea, weak as her resolve, and waited, heart ticking time to her steps. She approached, pad out, voice bright brittle. "What'll it be, Mom?" "Ma'am." The words stung soft, once her mommy sung sweet. "Earl Grey, dear." And a scone, plain, plain, like truths I'd serve. As she turned, I let my hand brush hers. Accidental feather light, ring-catching light. The one you gave me, John. Gold band worn thin, but true. She paused, eyes flicking down, then away quick. But the hook caught. She returned with the tray, setting down careful, gaze lingering. "Nice ring. Family, family." The dance began. I smiled sad, twisting it slow. "Late husbands gave it young, promised forever. Kept it through kids who forgot promises. Forgot." Her hand trembled on the pot, tea sloshing faint. "Kids, yeah, mine are grown. Complicated, complicated." Weave's word sat with her through rush slow, her breaks snatched at tables near, my questions gentle lures. "What troubles you, girl?" Eyes heavy as mine were once when she locked me away. She sighed, apron untied loose, sinking to the chair opposite unasked. "Everything. Lost the apartment, debts from mistakes. Family thought I had it made, on my back bent. Family takes sometimes. Mine did. Daughter pawned my heirlooms for her shine, then cried poor, pawned." Her face blanched, fork pausing midair. "Heirlooms like pearls?" "Pearls." The string pulled. I nodded slow, voice thick. "White strand, big as peas. Gift from her grandma. Now? Sold for nothing." She spilled then, words rushing like tea over brim. The forgeries, condo crumbling, friends ghosting after the liens hit. They say it's fraud, my signature on Mom's papers. But she signed, I swear. Swear, lies laced. I patted her hand, ghost soft. Signatures bind wrong sometimes. Fight it, tips to the bank, quiet ones. Show the cracks, cracks. Her eyes widened, hope dawning dim. Tips like what? What? The web spun. Proofs they hid, loans, spends. Mailed plain to the lenders. Her nod eager, napkin twisted shreds. Left a tip, fat, folded note inside. Truth free slow. Dance light. Slipped out as closing neared. Her wave hesitant in the window's glow. Train rocked home. City lights blurring tears. Not hers, mine. For the girl I nursed, now dancing doomed. "Feel the strings, Lila," I whispered to the dark. Mama leads. Tom's shadow dance shadowed summer's heat. His garage padlocked, but life rumbling on in borrowed rides and back alley deals cleaned half. Walt's tales caught him nights at diners cheap. Kids in tow, faces pinched with hunger's edge. "Closest breath," I said to the empty kitchen. canning jars sealing summer's fruit like secrets preserved. Dressed casual that August eve, jeans from the shed, shirt loose, I drove the cousin's old truck, rattling to his haunt on the outskirts. Dust kicking up like warnings ignored. The diner glowed orange. Lots half full with semis and strays. Air thick with grease and grease monkey talk. I parked far, walked in hat low, claiming a booth by the window where neons threw red shadows dancing. Ordered fries, crisp and hot, salt stinging like truths half told, and scanned the room. Tom slunk in 7:45, kids trailing, Sarah wide-eyed, brothers bickering, sliding into a booth across, menu up like armor sin. He didn't spot me in the gloom, voice low, ordering burgers on credit's edge. Kids' chatter piercing his sighs. Waited till plates came, then rose casual. Accident spilling water near their table. Splash faint, apology ready. Oh dear, clumsy me. Let me help. Help! His head snapped, eyes narrowing on my face. Strangers, bent with age, but eyes sharp as his once. No harm, lady. Kids, scoot. Scoot. But Sarah tugged my skirt, small hand warm. Hi. You okay? Hi. Heart cracked brief, mending quick with weave's thread. I knelt slow, mopping with napkins, voice soft. Fine, sweet. Spills happen. Like life, eh? Life. Tom cleared throat, wary. Yeah, family night. Tight times. We talked over the mess, me lingering with extra napkins. Kids drawing on placemats with crayons stubbed. Rough patch? I asked, settling uninvited but welcome in their gap. Tom nodded tight, burger untouched. Lost the shop. Debts from bad calls. Cops sniffing old stuff. Thefts tangled. Cops? Harsh. Mine had a boy once. Stole parts, thought smart. Tips turned him, but Grace saved. Grace. His fork paused, eyes flicking. Tips? Who? Who? Dance step. Neighbors quiet. Mailed plates, stories. Made him face. Face. Sarah looked up, crayon red as warning. Uncle bad. Uncle. No, son. I smiled soft. Learned good. You will too, loves. He opened slow, words grudging. The chop deals. Bail jumped. Partners vanished. Kids suffer most. Mom. She'd help, but we burned that bridge. Burned. My fire unquenched. Bridges rebuild quiet. Show the cops clean hands, papers, proofs. Dance around the traps. Traps, web zone. His nod reluctant, hope hesitant. Yeah? How? How? Anonymous drops. Evidence they faked. Mailed to the station. Station. Kids ate then. Chatter filling gaps. Sarah slipping me a drawing. Stick family under sun. For you, nice lady. Nice. Pocketed it warm. Left cash for their bill. Note tucked. Steps light. Shadows watch. Drove home under moon fat. Dust settling like peace half won. The drawing on dash glowing faint. Feel me close, Tom. I breathed to the wheel. Ghost in your night. The dances wove tighter through fall. Shadows lengthening as their days shortened. Harold's bar talks turned to job hunts desperate. Me appearing chance at interviews. Coffee shop across, eyes through glass. Notes to recruiters hinting past issues. He'd spot me once. Wave confused, but the weave pulled. Offers dried. Whispers spread. Lady from the bar, he'd mutter to mirrors. Not knowing the ghost, grinned. Lila's cafe shifts blurred to doubles. Me a regular now. Table corner, mine. Chats deepening to confessions. Lover's betrayal, debts drowning. Fight the bank, I'd urge. Slipping envelopes with found docs. Walt's forgeries exposed. She'd nod tearful. Thanks, mystery friend. Friend. Shadows mask. Tom's diner nights with kids became ritual. Me the kind grandma type. Fries shared. Stories told of a boy I knew who turned straight with tips to parole boards. Bail hearings loomed, my anonymous letters to judges painting redemption possible, but conditions tight. Repay, reform, He'd thank the lady each time, eyes searching mine, almost knowing. Allies danced too, Maria at the farm for weekends, cooking moles that spiced the wait, her stories of her son's reform mirroring mine. You pull strings like puppeteer, senora. Puppeteer, yes. Earl fixed the truck silent, eyes twinkling. Heard your boys in the paper. Clean garage now. Clean. Weaves wash. Ellen called updates crisp. Reparations flowing. Harold's first check. Lila's settlement. Tom's probation. Flowing. Back to me, slow drips. Good. Keep the dance. Dance. She laughed. Your poetry, Ruth. Winter danced harsh, snow blanketing tracks. But I moved still. Mittens hiding hands that pulled, boots muffling steps. Christmas neared, their calls tentative. Harold's piece, Mom? Lila's gifts for kids? Tom's home for holidays? Home. The farm glowed, tree strung simple, but I danced alone. Strings humming carols dark. New Year broke cold. Resolutions theirs, cracking mine firm. Dances faded subtle. Shadows retreating as they steadied. Jobs humble, debts halved, kids smiling wider. But the pull lingered, lessons etched. Feel the ghost, children. She dances eternal. Spring bloomed again, web humming harmony. My steps light in the garden, shadows friends now. Close danced, I told the roses, thorns soft. Strings felt, not seen. Power in the pull, ghost through their world, eternal. Power in the pull, ghost through their world, eternal. But eternity's a long dance, John. And even shadows tire when the music turns to thunder. When the strings I've plucked, so patient, start to snap under the strain of their own weight. Oh, I felt it building that fall. The air thick as the soup I used to simmer on Sundays, heavy with the promise of rain that would wash clean or drown deep. The web held strong, threads glistening with the dew of their desperation. But webs catch more than flies when the wind howls. They snag the whole sky, pull down clouds till the storm breaks loose and no one's left dry. I watched from the farm's edge that October eve, leaves whipping wild like flags of surrender, and knew the time had come. No more whispers in bars or chance spills at diners. No more gentle tugs on scarves of silk. The storm was mine to unleash, one bolt at a time, crashing through their fragile towers, till the foundations cracked and the greed they'd built on crumbled to mud. It started with Harold, always the tallest tree in my forest. The one who thought his branches touched heaven but forgot the roots ran deep under his feet. His job hunts had turned frantic by then, calls to old contacts bouncing back like rubber balls deflated, doors closing soft with excuses that smelled of my anonymous notes, past discrepancies, ethical concerns. Walt's last report landed on the farm's stoop like a stone from a sling, envelope fat with clippings. Former exec faces charges in embezzlement probe. Charges. The words sang in my ears as I sat at the kitchen table, scissors snipping careful around the headline, pasting it into the notebook like a scrapbook of sins. Empire first, I murmured to the empty room, flame in the stove, flickering approval. Ellen's call came noon sharp, her voice crackling over the line like lightning forking close. Ruth, the suits hit full. Prosecutor's office took the tips. Hearing tomorrow. He'll need bail, but the firm's countersuing for everything. Everything. Fitting echo. Let it rain, Ellen. No umbrellas for him. I didn't go to the hearing. Not as me. No, too raw still for faces across a room thick with strangers' stares. But I danced close one last time, slipping into the courthouse as Mrs. Harlan, widow from out of town, scarf high and eyes down, claiming a back bench where the wood groaned soft under my weight. The room hummed tension, air stale with coffee and cologne, lawyers circling like crows over roadkill. Harold entered cuffed light, suit hanging loose on frames thinned by worry, face pale as the milk I once warmed for his fevers. He didn't see me in the gloom, eyes scanning for allies that weren't there. His wife absent, friends fled. The judge's gavel cracked like thunder's prelude. Charges read steady. Fraud, theft, amounts tallied in voices flat but damning. "How do you plead?" the judge asked, robes black as judgment. Harold's voice broke small. "Not guilty," but the quiver said otherwise, eyes darting like a cornered fox's. The prosecutor painted him then, words sharp as hail, transfers time to my house sale, accounts hidden in shells he cracked open with my gold. "The defendant preyed on family trust," she said, glancing my way accidental, as if the web whispered her lines. Harold's lawyer sputtered defense. "Misunderstandings, Your Honor, civil, not criminal." But the evidence mounted. Walt's photos projected large, emails glowing, incriminating, signatures forged on my dotted line. Harold slumped, whispers rippling the room like wind before downpour. Bail set high, conditions iron, no travel, assets frozen, like my heart when he locked the door on my home. As they let him out, our eyes met brief, his widening, slow, mind steady under brim. "Mother?" he mouthed, silent scream. I rose quiet, slipping past like smoke, out into the hall where rain pattered first drops on the panes. "Storm's here, son," I breathed to the glass, tears mine or rain's blurring lines. Words spread fast as flood waters, his fall rippling to Lila and Tom like waves from a stone dropped deep. That night the farm shook with gusts. Shutters banging like doors slammed in anger, and I paced the kitchen, phone silent sentinel on the wall. It rang past midnight, Lila's number flashing like lightning. "Mom, Harold's arrested. The news, it's everywhere. Everywhere." My weave's wide reach. Her voice cracked, sobs hitching. "What did we do?" "The family's ruined." "Ruined?" "Their empire, yes. Condos and cars, deals and dinners, all teetering now on the cliff I'd nudged." "Ruined? By hands that built it wrong, dear," she pressed, words tumbling wet. "Help him." "Bail, we need money." "Money." The last of mine clawed back slow. "Money's gone where it belongs, Lila. Back to the giver." Click, the line died. Storm howling approval outside. Tom called dawn, voice gravel from no sleep. Kids' cries faint behind. Mom frozen deep. Cops at my door again, linking the truck to his mess. Linking. Threads tied tight. "Messes stick, Tom. Clean yours first." He begged. "The garage, foreclosing." "Kids hungry, hungry." Echo of nights I skipped meals for their plates full. "Feed them truth, son." Starts with sorry. Hung up to his curses fading. Wind whipping branches against the window like fingers scratching for entry. The storm swelled Ande. Headlines howling. Ellis siblings in scandal web. Fraud ring. Web. Poetic, the press's word for my work. Harold's bail scraped by strangers' loans. House, my house now. Collateral unwilling. Judge's eye sharp on the ties. He called from the station, voice hollow through bars. "Mother, it was for us. The money to fix things. Fix. Broken from the start. Fixed now, Harold." Thunder rolls. No more words. Just his breathing ragged. Then dial tone like a door shut final. Lila's wave crashed next. Her cafe shift ending abrupt with boss's boot. "Can't have scandal here, girl." Customers talk. Talk, the weave's chorus. She showed at the farm unannounced. Cab rumbling up the drive, slick with rain, dress sodden and eyes red-rimmed. I met her on the porch, door cracked against the gale. Umbrella none for her tears. "Mom, please." Evicted for good. Landlord saw the papers. Harold's trial. They'll drag me in. Drag! Down to depths she dug. Trials come, Lila. Face yours. She clutched my arm, nails biting like thorns. The forgeries, I did it for security. Thought you'd understand. Understand. Greed's mask. Understood once. Now? Storm sees clear. Pushed her gentle back. Door closing soft but sure. Her sobs swallowed by the roar outside. Tom's thunder rolled evening. Truck, new, borrowed, skidding gravel. Kids bundled wet against him. Mom, the partners flipped, blaming me for the chop. Probation revoked. Revoked, like trust sheet stripped. He paced the yard, lightning etching his face gaunt. Kids huddled on steps. We got nowhere. Sell something, anything, anything. My peace, last gift. Sold enough, Tom. Buy back your souls. He raged then, fists to sky, rain lashing like lashes. You did this. The tips, the letters, your ghost. Ghost caught in the flash. I stepped out then, shawl tight, voice cutting wind. Ghost! Mother, Tom, alive and washing clean. His eyes widened, kids peeking fearful. Grandma? Sarah whispered, heart twisted but storm steeled. Go, son. Lightning strikes twice, don't wait. They drove off, taillights blurring red in downpour. His empire, garage dreams, family facade, crumbling under greed's weight. Ellen called midweek, voice steady anchor in the gale. Charges stick for all. Joint investigation now. Reparations tripled, assets seized. Seized, like they seized me. Good. Let the flood take the rot. She paused, soft. You okay, Ruth? Storm's loud. Loud, but mine. Louder for them, Ellen. That's justice. The farm held through the fury. Roof leaking steady, but walls true. Me mending shingles by day, mending heart by night. Maria visited Friday. Roads washed out, but her truck stubborn, bringing tamales steaming and news hot. Your Herald, in the paper crying poor. Lila waitressing dives now. Tom, community service, scrubbing streets. Scrubbing, like I scrubbed their floors for love turned lie. We ate by fire, her hand on mine. Storm passes, senora? Passes, no, breaks them open. Rain's truce, Maria, cleans deep. Grandkids' faces haunted then. Drawings from Tom's pocket crumpled but cherished, tucked in my locket with yours. John called Ellen quick, trust for them untouched. Storm spares the small. She hummed yes, papers drawing like nets for safety. November howled peak, trials stacking like thunderheads. Herald's first, courtroom packed with press like vultures, me in back again. Harlan, mask firm. He took the stand, voice cracking on oaths, spilling siphonings like rain from eaves. Pressure from family, Your Honor. To provide. On my bent back. The jury's eyes hardened. Verdict swift. Guilty. Sentence hanging like sword. Probation heavy, fines crushing. He glanced my way as cuffs clicked final, plea in eyes. Help? Help. Storm's answer. No. Lila's turn dragged wet. Her tears reel now on stand. Forgeries confessed in whispers. Desperation, Judge. Mom's money. Seemed right. Right. Wrong's twin. Fine lighter, but license lost. No more jets to Paris on stolen wings. She left court head low, spotting my shadow in the crowd, freezing mid-step. You? Whisper hissed. I nodded once, ghost no more. Me, daughter. Storm's maker. Turned away, rain welcoming outside, her wail lost in wind. Tom's crashed Christmas week, irony bitter as fruitcake dry. Court small, kids in hall with social worker's eye, him pleading deals. Reform, sir. For them, the innocents. Judge stern. Theft chains long, Mr. Ellis. Jail time, restitution. To me, full circle. He begged recess, cornering me in hall. Mask slipped, face raw. Mom, end it. The tip's yours? Yours, all mine. Ends when paid, Tom. Greed's greed. Kids ran then, hugging legs, Sarah's grandma's scary rain. Scary, but cleansing. Hugged tight, whispering, son soon loves. Hold mama's hand. Mine steady. Storm broke full by New Year. Empire's dust. Harold Clark encounters. Lila cleaning houses like I once did. Tom wrenching legit under watchful eyes. Calls came humbled. Harold's sorry mother. Can I visit? Lila's teach me bake again. Tom's Stories for Kids, stories of storms past, lessons learned, farm quieted winter's end, snow melting to streams that sang relief, me walking furrows, soil soft under boots. Crumble, I told the sky, clouds parting blue. Under their own weight, Ellen visited spring, papers signed, house deeded clear, funds restored, suits closed. You won, Bruce. Won. Pieces prize. We did, Ellen. Storm's gift. Grandkids came summer, first visit. Bus rumbling, faces pressed windows. Hugs fierce, stories spun by fireflies. Once a grandma wove a web, pulled strings in dark. Storm came, washed bad away. Good stayed. They listened wide-eyed. Harold watching door. Lila stirring soup, Tom whittling sticks. Regrets hung quiet, but peace bloomed slow. Storm broke loose. Yes, one by one, greed's towers toppled. But in the clearing light fell gentle, my dance done. Storm broke loose, yes, one by one, greed's towers toppled. But in the clearing light fell gentle, my dance done. And oh, John, in that light the echoes started, faint at first, like the drip of rain from eaves after the worst has passed, but growing louder, each one a regret shaped like their voices, hollow now with the weight of what they'd lost. Not screams of pain, no, nothing so dramatic as the thunder that shook their worlds, but whispers that lingered in the quiet, pleas that bounced off walls they'd built high to keep me out, now cracking to let the truth seep in. I heard them all from the farm miles away, but close as a mother's ear to a child's door, each echo tasting of the bitterness they'd served me, turned back on their own tongues like medicine too late for the fever they'd raised. It began with Harold, my firstborn, the one who led the charge with papers and promises of better for all. His echo the longest to fade, because pride dies slow in a man who thought himself king. After the sentencing, probation chaining him to a desk in some back-office grind, he didn't call at first, no, too stubborn, too sure the storm was a fluke, a cloud that would pass without wetting his shoes. But weeks turned to months, winter's chill seeping into bones as thin as his excuses, and the first crack came in a letter, postmarked shaky from a town I'd never heard of, enveloped cheap as his new life. I sat on the porch rocker that March morning, sun weak but trying, and slid it open with the knife Earl gave me. Blade glinting like old eyes watching. "Mother!" it started, ink smudged as if tears blurred the pen. I write because words fail on the phone, and you deserve more than my voice breaking. The judge's words ring still. Guilty, he said, like I was a boy caught stealing cookies, not a man providing. But oh, I see now, clear as the bars that almost caged me, what providing meant to you. Every transfer, every loan from the firm, it was your house money greasing the wheels. Your sacrifices I spent on suits and steaks, thinking strength was in the shine. You raised me to lead, to protect, but I led us to this ruin. Locked you away like a secret too old to keep. Forgive? I beg it. Not for me, but for the boy who hugged your knees after falls, who promised forever. The echoes here are loud. Nights alone, wife's gone with the car I bought on your dime. Friends' silence heavier than chains. Regrets my cell now, mother. Let me visit, pay in hours what I stole in years. Your son, Harold, regret. The word wrapped around my heart like briars, pricking soft where anger used to rage. I folded the letter slow, tucking it in the notebook with the clippings of his fall, and rocked there till noon, wind whispering through the oaks like your voice. John saying, "Hear him, Ruth, but hold the line." Hold. Yes, I wrote back that afternoon. Pen steady on paper, yellowed but true. Words simple as the soup I'd simmer for his colds. The herald echoes travel far, but actions echo louder. The house waits empty, dust on the table where you signed me away. Visit if you must, but bring hands to clean, not empty, please. Debts pay in deeds, not ink, mother. Mailed it plain, no stamp of love, just truth sealed tight. He came a week later. Truck rattling up the drive like bones in a sack, face gaunt under hat pulled low, suit traded for flannel worn at cuffs. I met him at the steps, shawl loose on shoulders that didn't ache anymore, and watched him climb slow, eyes down like a penitent to confession. "Mother," he said, voice rough as gravel, stopping short of the porch rail. No hug offered, none taken. Space between us wide as the chasm he'd dug. The letter, it cut true, cut like his words once did. I nodded once, gesturing the rocker beside mine. "Sit, son. Echoes fade if you listen close." He sank heavy, hands folding in lap like a child's at prayer, and spilled then, words tumbling slow at first, then flood. The wife left mid-storm, packing bags while he paced the lawyer's office, taking the savings he'd hidden, not mine, but close enough, painted with the same greed. "She said I wasn't the man she married," he murmured, eyes on the fields greening soft. "But you knew that man, Mother. The boy who promised the moon after father died, who watched you work doubles and swore he'd lift the load." Instead, I added chains. Chains. The facility's locks clicking in my memory. The kids? They ask for you, blame me quiet when I dodge the why. Why? Betrayal's root. I let silence sit between us, heavy but healing, wind carrying bird calls like mercy distant. "What now, Harold?" I asked finally, voice even as the horizon. He straightened fraction, eyes meeting mine. "Blue like yours, John, but clouded now. Repay, the fines eat half my check, but the house, let me fix it. Boards creak, paint peels, hands for hire, but mine owe more." "Oh, the echo rang true. We walked the property then, him trailing like a shadow reformed, pointing rot in the barn, shingles missing like teeth from a grin. "You built this," he said, voice thick at the well where I'd drawn water for his baths. "Brick by tear like you said that night. The kitchen table, pie cooling, hearts freezing." I stopped, hand on the pump rusted but rooted. "Tears dry, Harold, but scars stay. Regret yours to wear." He nodded, throat working swallow. "Wear it I will. Every nail I hammer, every bucket I haul, payment, payment." Slow but starting, he stayed till dusk, hands dirty from poking beams. Supper shared silent, but for forks scraping plates. Stew simple, like the days before ambition soured it. No tears then, just the echo of his regret in the quiet chew. The way he washed dishes without ask, suds to elbows, like penance. Left with a hug hesitant, arms loose but lingering. "Thank you, Mother, for hearing." The first echo answered. Leela's came softer, her regret a melody mournful, notes plucked on strings she'd frayed herself. After the license loss, she drifted to cleaning gigs, houses of strangers gleaming under her rag where once her own condo sparkled false. The letter arrived April, envelope scented faint with soap. Her new uniform's smell, I guessed. Script loopy, but lined with lines of worry. "Dearest Mom," it breathed. Words stick in my throat like the dust I wipe now, but paper holds them true. The storm took my wings. No more flights fancy, just buses bumpy to homes not mine. I see you in every mirror I polish, face tired but proud. The way you looked scrubbing our floors while I dreamed big. Dreams on your back, Mom. The condo down payment from your nest. The cards I maxed thinking shine was free. You gave pearls of wisdom and real ones too, and I strung them for show, not heart. Now, echoes of parties empty, friends' laughs turning whispers when I pass. Regrets my Polish now, buffing clean what I dirtied. The kids miss your hugs, their grandma's stories. Let me come, clean your corners, bake bad pies till you laugh. Love broken but begging Lila, broken. The word tugged, remembering her fevers, small body burning in my arms, promises whispered to cool the blaze. I sat by the window that rainy afternoon, letter open on lap, drops racing pains like tears delayed. "Laugh again," I murmured to the glass, fog blooming breath. Wrote back dusk, candle lit against gloom, words warm but wary. Lila echoes sing sad, but songs change key with work. The kitchen waits, flour dusty on shelves where your prom dress hung once. Come bake, but bring heart, not just hands. Pies rise with leaven true. Mother, sealed with a drop of wax. Red as regrets rose. She arrived May 1st, bus dropping her at the road's end. Bags slung over shoulder light as her step. Dress simple but smile tentative. I waved from the gate, arms open fraction, and she ran the last stretch, hugging fierce, perfume cheap but her. Mom, she sobbed into my shoulder, salt wetting wool. I missed this to hold the home. We pulled apart, slow eyes meeting. Hers green like spring gone wild, mine steady sea. Missed more than holds, girl. But echoes call us back, back, to the kitchen, aprons tied, flour dusting cheeks like snow soft. She baked that day, hands trembling on the rolling pin, dough sticking stubborn as her old lies. Remember the dress? She asked, voice small over the oven's hum. You sewed through nights, pins pricking fingers for my shine. Shine, faded now. I nodded, sifting sugar white as forgiveness half-formed. Pricked heart too when you locked the door. Door. The facility's click, echoing still. She paused, pie crust limp in palms. I thought cozy for you, Mom. Lies I told myself to sleep. Sleep. Stolen from me then. Lies wake regrets, Lila. What now? Now. Her eyes welled, but hands steadied, crimping edges neat. Clean true. The houses I do. Mirrors shine, but mine cracked. Let me fix yours, pay in polish what I took in gloss. Polish. The echo rang and we baked on. Pies filling air sweet. Talk turning tender. Her losses spilled like batter poured. The lover who fled with cards. Friends who ghosted after headlines. Kids' questions sharp as knives. They ask why Grandma's gone, she whispered, oven mitts steaming. Tell them storms pass, but I know, I brewed it. Brewed, my web, her wind. Passed for you? I asked, plates clinking set. She nodded, slice steaming between us. Bitter first, but sweetens. Like this, burnt edge, but heart good, heart. We ate slow, forks scraping echoes of meals past, her regret in every bite swallowed humble. She stayed weekends after, bus faithful, hands in suds or soil, cleaning corners cobweb, planting flowers I'd forgotten, roses red as the love she'd dimmed. One eve, porch swing creaking duet, she leaned head on shoulder like girlhood. Regrets heavy, Mom, but lighter sharing. Sharing. The echo softened, my arm around her slight. Heavy lifted slow, Lila. Keep coming. Coming. Home's pull. Tom's echoes thrummed deepest. Bass note rumbling like the truck he'd lost. His regret raw as the streets he scrubbed under probation's eye. Letter came June, scrawled hasty on paper lined yellow, postmarked from the garage reborn. Legit now, wrenches honest. Mom, it growled. Letters leaning like him after long days. Pens ain't my tool, but words gotta come out somehow. The storm hit hardest here. Jail shadow long, kids seeing cuffs on cartoons now, asking if daddy's bad like the news says. Bad? Yeah, I was. Chopping rides, deals dark, all to chase majors I fumbled before the plate. Your glove bought that dream, Mom. Leather soft from your grocery skips. Skipped you too that night with the truck hauling your life away. Me waving from the car like a fool. Echoes here loud. Nights wrenching alone. Grease black as guilt. Partners ghosts laughing at my fall. Regrets my torque now, twisting tight what I loosened wrong. The boys miss your glove stories. Sarah your hugs. Let me fix the fence. Haul wood. Pay muscle for the mercy I stole. Your boy Tom, Torque. The word wrenched, recalling his swings in the yard, ball-cracking bat-like heart once did. I read it by the barn, that humid noon, hay scratching legs, and felt the storm's last rumble in my chest. Mercy, I whispered to the rafters, spiders spinning lazy. Wrote back Eve, lantern glowing gold, words firm but fond. Tom, echoes rumble deep, but ground holds if you root true. The fence sacks where you climbed once. Wood pile low from winters alone. Come haul, but bring truth, not just sweat. Balls fly straight when thrown honest. Mother. Mailed dawn. Envelope sturdy as resolve. He drove up July 4th. Truck new but plain. Kids tumbling out like puppies, eager. Faces sun-browned and eyes wide. Grandma. Sarah yelled, barreling hug, brothers trailing shy. Tom hung back, cap twisted hands. Flannel sleeves rolled over arms corded from service. Mom, he said, voice low thunder. Fence first? First? Yes. We worked that day, hammers swinging rhythm. Him nailing posts deep, me holding wire taut, kids chasing fireflies early in the grass. Remember the majors? He grunted, sweat beading brow. Your glove caught every dream till I dropped it. Dropped, like me that signing night. I steadied the post, dirt cool under palms. Dropped more than balls, Tom, but picks up again. Again. His hammer paused, eyes meeting over wood. Picking now. The garage, clean jobs, no shadows. But echoes. The cops' questions, kids' stares. Regret wrenches, Mom, twisted me wrong. Wrenched. We nailed on. Talk easing with each strike. His flips on partners. Jail's cold bite avoided narrow. Wife's grip loosening on his sleeve. She says try harder, he admitted, wire humming taut. For them. Them? The small ones, picnicking nearby with sandwiches crusty. Harder's the echo, Tom. Hear it, heed it, heed. Supper round the table that night. Fireworks booming distant like judgments past. Kids' laughter filling cracks. Stories, Grandma? The littlest begged, fork waving. Stories. I spun one soft, of a boy with a glove. Dreams chased but caught in storms of his making. Redeemed by hauls and hammers. Tom listened quiet, eyes glistening firelight. Regret's bass humming low. He came weekly after, truck regular as rain. Hands hauling logs or fixing leaks. Kids scattering toys like seeds of tomorrow. One fall day, leaves crunching under boots. He stopped mid-chop, axe idle. The night we took the house, I scrolled my phone. Mom. Ignored your eyes. Eyes. Wet then, pleading. Ignored mine now? No. Regrets the scroll I can't swipe away. Away. I took the axe gentle, handle warm from his grip. Stay still worked through, son. Like wood. Wood. We chopped on. Echoes blending with birdsong. The echoes wove together summer's end. Visits overlapping. Harold nailing with Tom. Lila baking for all. Table groaning under pies and regrets shared. No big apologies, no floods of tears, just quiet mendings. Harold's check monthly, deposited silent to the trust for grandkids. Lila's polish on windows gleaming my view clear. Tom's fence standing straight, holding the world in. Calls turned daily, voices lighter. Mom, fixed the sink, leak gone. Baked bread. Mom, crust like yours. Hauled enough. Mom, pile high. Fall deepened. Leaves gold as old gold returned. And I sat porch often, rocker creaking lullaby, watching them come and go. Shadows softened, echoes fading to harmony. Maria visited once, eyes twinkling over tea. Regrets singing now, Senora, like choir. Choir, yes. Off key still, but tuning. Tuning. Earl grunted approval, fixing the gate. Hinges hold when oiled through. True. One eve, all gathered, fire pit crackling, grandkids roasting sticks with marshmallows gooey, faces smeared joy. Harold poked embers, voice low. This the clearing, mother? Clearing, light gentle. I nodded, locket warm at throat. After storm, yes. Echoes quiet now. Quiet. Lila leaned close, hand on mine. Ours forever but yours. Peace, peace. The word bloomed, full. Tom ruffled Sarah's hair. Learned late, but learned. Learned. Stars wheeled witness. echoes hushed to hush. Regrets tasted bittersweet like the cider we passed. "Justice," I whispered to the flame, "not cruel but complete." They left late, tail lights fading soft, house quiet but full, echoes of regret, now lullabies of return. They left late, tail lights fading soft, house quiet but full, echoes of regret, now lullabies of return. And in that quiet, John, I found it at last, the peace I'd chased through storms and shadows, through webs woven tight and fires that burned my heart to steel. Not the loud kind, not trumpets or cheers like in the old stories we read by lantern light, but a soft settling, like dust after a wind dies down, or the way the earth breathes easy when the plow's done turning. I sat there on the porch that September night, rocker creaking under me like a heartbeat slowed, the air cool with autumn's first kiss, and let it wash over me, this victory not of vengeance, but of justice carved slow from pain's stone. The house was mine again, deed crisp in the drawer, walls whispering only my name now, and oh, the calm that came with knowing they felt the weight of their own hands, not mine pressing them low. I rose slow that morning, joints stiff but soul light, and walked the rooms barefoot, floorboards cool and familiar as your hand once was. The kitchen table stood scarred but sturdy. No more papers to sign away my life, just a bowl of apples red as the love I poured out, waiting for pies I'd bake for no one but me. The photos on the walls, Harold's graduation, Lila's wedding, Tom's kids in grass-stained jeans, stared back not with accusation but acceptance. Frames dusted clean by hands that learned their lesson. I touched each one, fingers lingering where their smiles used to blind me, and whispered, "You paid, my dears." Paid full, paid not in dollars, though those trickled back, Harold's checks, Lila's small savings, Tom's labor in wood and wire, but in the humbling I saw in their eyes when they crossed the threshold now, heads bowed not from force, but from truce, tasted bitter. The days after stretched golden, fall painting the fields in hues of fire, tamed, reds and oranges that glowed without burning, like my heart now banked low but warm. I tended the garden daily, roses blooming late but fierce, thorns no longer enemies but guards of my peace. "Grow strong," I told them, clipping careful, dirt under nails like ink of old lists now burned. Mornings I baked, scones crumbly, pies tart with apples from the tree you planted, John, its branches heavy with fruit that fed us through lean years. I ate alone at first, savoring silence sweet as crust, but soon the table filled again, not with thieves but with family learning slow to be kin again. Harold came Sundays, toolbox rattling, fixing leaks with hands that once signed my exile. "This pipe's old, Mother," he'd say, wrench turning steady. "Like me, son," I'd reply, tea steaming between us. "But holds yet, holds." His smile small, eyes softer now, carrying the echo of regret like a badge worn quiet. Lila's visits wove into weeks, her bus rumbling up with bags of flour or yarn, gifts small but sincere, thread to mend what she tore, not just in cloth but in trust. We baked together one crisp afternoon, kitchen warm with cinnamon and her laughter, no longer brittle but budding, like crocuses pushing through frost. "Remember the prom dress?" she asked, rolling dough thin as her old lies. "Sewed it with dreams, Mom, but wore it with greed." Greed. The word hung light now, confession not accusation. I dusted flour from her cheek, hand steady. "Wore it out, dear. Now we've new." New. Her pies burned less each time, hands surer, heart opening like dough rising slow. "For the kids," she'd say, packing slices for their lunches. Kids, the thread that tied us still, pulling gentle. Tom brought them most, his truck a steady hum up the drive. Kids spilling out with drawings and hugs that warmed deeper than any fire. Sarah led always, her grandma, a song that healed scars I thought permanent. They'd run the fields, chasing butterflies or ghosts of their father's old dreams, while Tom hauled logs or mended fences, sweat honest now, not stolen. The garage runs clean, he told me one dusk, hammer idle by the barn, stars pricking sky like pins in a quilt. No more shadows, Mom, just oil and elbow grease. Grease, like the love I gave, slippery once but sticking now. I handed him cider, mug warm from the stove. Grease builds, Tom, like trust. Keep it flowing, flowing. He nodded, sipping slow, kids' laughter echoing from the porch where they drew with chalk. Houses round, families whole. The grandchildren were my piece's heart, their innocence the clearing after storm, untouched by their parents' reign. I taught them stories by the fire pit, nights cool with fall's breath, tales of a grandma who spun webs not to trap but to teach, of storms that washed away bad to let good bloom. Why'd Daddy cry? Sarah asked once, curled in my lap, firelight dancing her eyes. Cry. The echo lingered. Grown-ups cry when they learn hard, love. Like you with a scraped knee. Hurts, then heals, heals. She nodded, small hand in mine, and I tucked her drawing, a sun over our house, into the locket with yours. John, 3 hearts beating close. Ellen came often, her car crunching gravel like a friend long missed, bringing papers to sign or news to share. Suits settled final. Reparations banked for the kids' futures, not mine. You don't need it, Ruth, she said over coffee one gray morning, steam curling like secrets told. You've got the house, the peace, peace. The word tasted like apples, baked soft, no bite left. Got more, Ellen, family coming home? Home, she smiled, glasses fogged slight. Storm's gift, eh? Gift. Yes, wrapped in justice, ribboned with time. Maria and Earl visited too. Allies turned kin, their hands helping harvest or fix what the years wore down. Maria's tamales spiced our suppers, her laugh warming rooms like the stove. Senora, your web caught good, she'd say, peeling corn husks deft, caught, not trapped, but held. Earl grunted over fence posts, hammer swinging like old times. Kids learned, ma'am. Hinges hold now, hold, like my heart, mended strong. The town noticed the shift, whispers at the market soft but kind. Ruth Ellis back in her house, kids fixing what they broke. Mrs. Greer, your old bridge partner, John, slipped me extra apples one day, eyes twinkling. Storm cleared nice, Ruth. Your roses bloom proud, proud. I nodded, basket heavy with fruit and forgiveness half won. Bloomed through mud, Mabel. Takes time, time. The town's clock ticked on, but my peace kept its own rhythm. Winter crept gentle that year, snow dusting fields like sugar on scones. No harsh storms now, just quiet falls that blanketed soft. I walked the land daily, boots crunching paths where their trucks now parked regular. No longer stealing, but staying. Harold's hands calloused from work, honest. Lila's apron, flour dusted from effort true. Tom's kids trailing him with tools small but eager. They came Christmas, table full, pies, stew, stories louder than regrets. To Mother, Harold toasted, glass raised shaky but sure, eyes meeting mine across candles lit bright, for teaching us late, late but learned. Lila clinked hers, smile soft. To peace, Mom. Found it. Found. Tom lifted his kids, giggling juice. To home, Grandma. Never leave. Never. The word sealed it. Peaceful bloom. Nights alone after I sat by the fire, locket open in palm, your face smiling beside Sarah's drawing, Maria's photo from the facility tucked in too, smiles woven tight. See it, John? I whispered to the flames, embers popping soft. Justice done, not cruel. Peace now. Peace. The house hummed agreement, walls warm with my name alone, but doors open to those who knocked humble. One last letter I wrote, not to them but to you, John, sealed in the notebook, never mailed but kept close. Dear love, the storm passed, the web spun true. They took my gifts, but I took back peace. Mine, theirs, ours. Sleep easy, my heart. I do. Folded it shut, waxed red as roses, and tucked it under the pillow where your head once rested. Spring came early, buds breaking like promises kept, and I stood in the garden, scissors snipping blooms for the table, their laughter echoing from the porch, Harold's plans for a shed, Lila's recipe swapped with Maria, Tom's kids chasing hens. Peace wasn't loud, but deep, rooted as the oaks you planted, John, shading us all. I looked to the sky that April noon, clouds soft as forgiveness, and smiled wide, heart steady as the earth beneath. They said I owed nothing, I told the breeze, voice clear as bells rung new. But I gave justice and took back my quiet. The quiet held victory complete, peace in the clearing forever mine.